Hello, and welcome to another edition of Spindle TV Exclusive. I'm your host, Lanny Shaughnessy, and joining me tonight online on camera is JR. JR, how you doing this evening?
Doing terrific.
Life treating you well. Hello to everybody in the chat. I was saying hello as you were all popping in and everything, and hope you all are doing well. Sorry about last week's class, but I think tonight's class is going to really be a good one. I think it's going to be just kind of very informative for those of you that might need this type of information. But last week had a bit of a tree incident in the shop. Tree branch come down, went through the roof, and it happened to be right over one of the machines, and had to tend to that. And unfortunately, it kept me from having a class and all. But everything came out okay. Still waiting for the roof panel to come in. As I was just telling JR, it's on special order, and ordering just one versus a whole roof, they it's a little pain in the butt. But it's on its way, but in the meantime, everything's been cleaned up, patched up, tarped up, tight as a button. So no major damage occurred. Just a wasteboard, an MDF wasteboard, which was easy to replace. Thank God. So all in all, everything was good with that. And with that, let me see here. I lost JR. He disappeared. He'll be back, I'm sure. Okay, so are you able to all see and hear me and all that wonderful stuff? Audio and video is good on y'all's end and everything, because for a moment it was saying that we have a little bit of a storm rolling in, and it was saying that there was a no connection for a moment. So, JR is back. Let me see here. Hey, I thought I lost you there, JR.
Yeah, you did for a bit.
Like, screw this guy. I'm out of here. But hey, everybody, while I have JR and everybody here, I do not have the links ready for the things that I want to show you. A little bit of show and tell, a little bit of recommendation as well too. But I did post the link in the chat for. You might have to go. It's up towards the top of the chat for the Dropbox for the files. Some of the files that we're going to go over when we, on the project and everything. We'll update any files that get changed or anything like that. But I really want to talk to you for a second. In my shop, just like everybody's shop, I am trying to set up an environment, a production type environment. I mean, where in areas where I wasn't very organized, I want to make sure that because time is now more than ever becoming money. As things are starting to ramp up, and being able to find what I need quickly and easily, and be able to organize and stuff. It's becoming kind of my thing. And then precision, always precision. When we're building stuff, but it's really becoming kind of I'm getting really obsessed with precision and setup and things like that in the machine. And so one of the things that I want to bear with me just a second here. Let me see here. I thought I had all these things pulled up. Give me just a moment. So that's one. All right, I'm going to pull this one on the screen. If you guys and girls do not own a set of 1, 2, 3 blocks in your shop, you are missing out. when it comes to setup, when it comes to precision and using different measuring different things and things like that. This set of 1, 2, 3 blocks, this precision set of Win 1, 2, 3 blocks right here. It's about $20 for the pair. There's a pair of 2. Holy cow, they are dead nuts precise 1, 2, and 3. I mean, they say that they could be plus or minus by 0.001, and all that. On it. I mean, they're just beautiful pieces of ingenuity right there. And I have now my machine came with a touch block. My CNC came with a touch block, and the block thickness, the little Z touch block, was 0.59 and stuff like that. I've ended up now on my machine, I've ended up removing that touch block. I ended up on the end of the wire where I removed the touch block. I put a magnet on there, and I use my 1, 2, 3 block. Now the magnet gets stuck to this, and then I bring my bit down, and this becomes the touch block. So that signal travels through the 1, 2, 3 block. And if I'm touching off, I can touch off in 1, 2, 3, whatever configuration I need, depending on where I need to fit. And sometimes I can fit flat. If I'm fitting in a small tight area or something like that, I can stand it up if I had to reset or whatever. Absolutely the best thing I ever did. So I'm gonna put links in the Facebook group and in the community. I'll put links to all these things that I'm discussing and everything. If you're ever in the market for things like this or the things that we discuss, absolutely get you some. But those bad boys are, man, I didn't realize what I was missing until I realized what I was missing. You know what I mean? And like I said, one of these is my float around. I use it for whatever. The other one has kind of become it stays at my machine for my touch block now. All right. Second thing to kind of accompany that I really like and want to recommend to you is everybody in their shop should have a good set of digital calipers. I have, give me just a second here. I have digital calipers like I started out with from Harbor Freight, right? So, everybody starts somewhere, right? And, for the most part, they were good. But, a lot of times the buttons stopped working and things like that. And, they're Pittsburgh brand and all. Well, started researching online and looking at, recommendations and stuff. And this brand, Canuck, let me see if I can get it to focus. Kind of, come on, focus. This bad boy right here, digital caliper, is the buttons are like, they're firm. When you're switching from millimeters to fractions to inches, and the zero stays zero. It doesn't lose itself and all. And this is a very, let's see if I can, bear with me just a second.
Your 1, 2, 3 block.
1, 2, 3 block. What's that?
Use your 1, 2, 3 block to measure it.
Yes, but I'm trying to find the link to the item. Give me a second. Right here it is. Not a link, but the page to kind of pull it up on. Are y'all able to see? You're not able to see anything, guys. Hold on a second, guys and girls. JR, I'll be right back, buddy. None of y'all are seeing anything that I'm doing on the screen here. Hold on a minute. Let's switch to screen 2. And let's put me, sorry about that. Y'all were just looking at me and JR. We just hanging out. I was getting all excited because this has nothing to do with the class. I just want to tell you some of the things that I've been working with over the last, few weeks that have really just been game changers for me. Give me just a second. Okay, so let's back up just for a moment. Let's come back. Oh, sorry. Okay, let's kind of start over for a second here. All right. These Win 10423 321 blocks, right? These are the ones I'm talking about. They are deadly precise. They are like right on. And on the, let me see here. On the, let me switch out of millimeters, inches. On the, it's going to be a little bit upside down. You know, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this way down there. Don't drop on my computer. But I don't know if that showed up or not. But they are just great. Anyhow, so that was that. And then I wanted to go back and let's see. Page 2. And like I said, I'll post links to all these and everything. But these Canup digital calipers, and they have 6-inch, 8-inch, 12-inch, and all that stuff. But my goodness, I'm talking about super nice. I mean, they're heavy, not heavy, but I mean, they're just stout. They're just well made. And it's absolutely phenomenal. So it comes in a really nice blown hard case and stuff like that. And it comes with 2 extra batteries if you need. If you do not have a set of calipers in your shop, by all means, please get some. They come in useful every day that you're working with woodworking and stuff like that. And so those 2 things I really wanted to share. But the next one is an absolute piece of art, in my opinion. If you're anything like me, you have drawers that house screws, miscellaneous bolts, nuts, whatever whatever the situation calls for. It's just kind of like a catch-all. Or you just have boxes that open box and packages that they had to go somewhere and everything. And I'll blow myself up for this one really quickly here, and then we'll get on with things. But this bolt and nut gauge from Altitude Croft and everything. But this thing is absolutely stunning. And it hangs up in my shop now, but I took it down to just bring in this class. But I have a bunch of bins. I'm in the like I said, I'm organizing now, right? And I have these plastic bins with just screws and nuts and bolts and everything just thrown in. There's no separation in size or anything at the moment and all that stuff. So I was going through and I bought, and what I did was I bought a bunch of solo cups, like clear or red or whatever, solo cups, plastic cups, and I had them laying out on my bench, and I'm literally just kind of throwing nuts and bolts and things in there that are that I think are close to about the right size, right? Just to get them somewhat sorted and separated. And I'm talking about I have a lot, and I'm like, man, I'm spending money. I go to Lowe's all the time and I'm buying new bolts and nuts, and I literally probably have everything that I need already in the shop, right? And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I got to go through. And so this bad boy, the best $40 I ever spent in my life. But when I'm looking through and trying to find what size a particular bolt is or what size a nut is and everything, there's no more guessing now. There's no more trying to find a matching nut and bolt and all that stuff just to see what size it is. I can't. This thing is a lifesaver. Anyway, so I just wanted to share these things with you. I'm not trying to sell you. I'm just saying, if you are like me, if you are, if you have that abundance of hardware and you're like, you're trying to kind of organize yourselves and things like that. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't know what I didn't know, right? I didn't know, and it's amazing. And when it comes to precision, the last thing is with my dial calipers and stuff, when I'm doing tramming and everything on my spindle, or checking for run out and things like that on the collet and everything, the last thing is this bad boy right here. Now I already had the dial caliper. This holder here holds a 3/8 inch shank on a dollar caliper, and it's got a really strong locking magnetic base. And this articulating arm, when you loosen this, everything, the whole thing can be positioned, all 3 points. And then when you lock in that knob, it locks in all 3 of those points, right? You know, so when that's locked in. And so I use this, I stick it to the side of my spindle, I put this down, and I can check for, you know, tram, I can check for runoff, run out, and things like that. I use it on my table saw to make sure I don't have any run out on my table saw blade, drill press, things like that. But this thing right here, give me just a second. Go back a screen, come back down. It was $27.99 for that. It doesn't come with the dial caliper. That's a Harbor Freight special right there, boy, that dial caliper. But it's phenomenal. I feel like with these tools right here, I'm said I can conquer anything that I come across. All right, now that was a whole 15 minutes of nothing to do with tonight's class, but just wanted to share with you some of the things that some of the new things that I've gotten that I've been able to work with. And man, I just didn't, you know, it's important to have good, solid, you know, tools and instruments and things like that to work with. Especially I'm making these dust brushes now, and everything has got to be precise. I'm working in millimeters versus inches now. I switched to metric versus imperial on some of the things just because. It's just changes, right? All right, let's get back here. I'm going to bring really quickly. I'm going to bring James back up here. Jared, how you doing? All right, so the it's just that was kind of like my little tool haul, if you will, of the things that the game changers and stuff. And my goodness, it's just been different. I bought a nice tap and die set because I'm making my own. And this one, don't judge me by this one. The hole's off center, but I'm making my own parts. One of the parts that I am going to start producing, I'll show you an inspirational piece, but toe clamps. Oops, hold on. I don't know why. What's invisible? Hold on a second. Why am I invisible? Hold on a second. I'm see-through. Give me just a second here. What do I have?
Okay.
But well, I'm still
still transparent.
Still transparent. But anyhow, toe clamps. These little bad boys, and I'm making now from aluminum bar stock. I'm making these little T-nuts, but they're not little. I'm making them for the commercial machines that are a little bit bigger than a regular T-slot. They're like 3/4 inch wide, and everything for like JRs and mine's 48 and stuff like that. But so T-nuts and everything I'm starting to produce. I'm starting to work with aluminum parts and things. But I'm going to start producing a lot of different things for CNC accessories and stuff like that. And hopefully one day y'all might need some of these things if I ever get important or fancy or whatever. I don't know. But I'm now I'm really focusing on production of different things that help people. So as Elon Musk said, don't try to find a product. Don't try to design or develop a product for don't try to find a customer for your product design, right? Find a product design for your customer. Basically, what do the people want? Focus on making and developing that. What do they need? Right? Don't try to find people the things that that you make and like, oh, now I got to find an audience to buy that, right? See what people need and make that product, fill that demand. Anyway, and he says it much more eloquently than I just did. But anyhow, that's it. So tonight, what I want to take you through is we're going to talk about some things with regards to a business, a small woodworking business or large woodworking business, or just a business in general. We're going to talk about, coming up with an idea, kind of defining that idea, running it through its paces, kind of prototyping and testing and things like that. And then, really getting it designed in my case, I use Vectric, and I also use SketchUp to help me a little bit. But then, developing kind of the production side of things, what's needed to, get done, and pricing and products and all, materials, raw materials to make the product. And then making it, figuring out a price for it, and then eventually launching and selling it. So that process, if we're looking to make money with the products we make with our CNCs and things like that, we go through that process, and some of us are just, fumbling our way through and hoping to make $1, some of us have got it nailed down and are just making hand over fist. There's some that are just getting started and just don't know which direction to go. So, with that being said, let me get my head out of the way. I've still got my head out of the way. What I want to talk to you about, let me get down here. And bear with me just a second. I'm missing one of my lights. I'm filming out in my shop, so one of my lights is gone, so my background is darker than normal, my foreground. But so, kind of that path, I want to kind of take you there. But let's start first. I'd like to start with taking you through just kind of a checklist. And everybody has the link to this file to take, and maybe you can use it, maybe something, it will help you if you're looking, to kind of get started in a business and everything. And I do recommend everybody that's looking to do, focus on, developing a, some type of business, LLC or what have you. But let's just take a really quick, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I just want to take you through. So when it comes to getting started with a business idea or home-based business or setting up your business and everything, basically, you got to look at yourself and, look internal and look at what you're wanting to do. And figure out if that's what you want to do. Like if this is your goal, whether it be you're going to start a business because you're trying to supplement your income, or you're looking to retire from your current job and go into something that you love, or you're looking to, develop generational income for family, down the line, whatever the situation may be. You got to evaluate yourself, because you only, and it's true with everything, you're really only going to get out of it what you put into it, right? Now, from there, develop some kind of plan for yourself. And, there's always, like when we were in school and colleges and all that stuff, it's like, write a business plan, 500-page essay, and you're going to need this for loans and this and that. And you might, but right now we're just talking about come up with a plan, an executable plan. So what do you do? How do we do it? Who do we serve, right? What's our customer base going to be? Definitely, check out your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? What are your strengths and abilities? What's your weaknesses, and where do you have to pick up and learn? What opportunities, have been presented to you that you can capitalize on? And then, of course, what's out there that could threaten the success of this business, as far as, too much competition, or, just bad habits or whatever the situation is, like, situations and things. So it's basically SWOT analysis, SWOT. All right. Now, figure out, assess how much, capital you have available to invest. Some of us, in my case, I have zero capital to invest. I am living and operating kind of a paycheck to paycheck situation, right? I'm a one-man operation here trying to be a big corporation, right? I'm an LLC as it is. And I do very well with my business. I've been in business as first it was a simple design of Ocala, and then I rebranded to Build It TV LLC. I've had that since 2016. But I'm not rolling in it. I'm not by any means a multi-millionaire or anything like that. If I was, I would have electricity in my shop by now. I wouldn't still be operating out of my small shop when I got a beautiful big building that's got no electricity and all that. I am, whatever money comes in gets literally right now reinvested in the shop. And I'm hoping that one day that's going to change, right? That's going to change. And money's going to just start coming in and things are just going to fall into place. And it takes time. I'll be able to hire employees and all that stuff. So right now, assess what you have that you can, you're able to invest in your business and kind of, develop your plan from that. Don't be discouraged by it, and don't not make any progress moving forward because maybe, there isn't any money, or if it is, it's very little that you have to spend and all that. Whatever the situation is, just look at, what you have available to you and develop the plan, a viable working plan with goals that you can reach, attainable goals that you can reach and all, and build from there. Everybody started from somewhere, in one way or another. Discuss your plan with, if it's going to affect your family, definitely discuss that with them, especially if it's going to affect them or impact them in any way financially or anything like that. Transparency and being upfront and honest and talking at it, but make sure that you have a support system behind you, because if I'm trying my best to be as successful as I can, and I don't really know what it is that I want to end up, making or doing, but I know I want to be production. I know R&D is my strong points and things like that, and bringing things to market and all. But if I'm being, kicked in the nuts every phase of the day and all, I'm getting talked down to, and I don't have a support system, helping me, when times get tough, because trust me, I get discouraged when things get tough, and it's like, man, it might not be happening fast enough or things like that. My support system, it's not a financial support system. It's an emotional, mental, physical, my support system, saying, hey, don't give up, keep going, whatever we can do to help, it makes a big difference and all. So make sure that you talk this over with friends, family. Make sure you have, someone behind you, right? Determine if you want the business to be a full-time or a part-time business. Is it something that you just want to be able to do part-time and, hey, make a little bit of money to be comfortable, or just to kind of pay the bills or whatever it is? Or are you like going full on with this, and this is going to be my gig full-time, and I'm going to grow it to whatever it is, right? Figure that out. So that's kind of your getting started steps, right? From there, now we're kind of getting into committing to it, right? So now we're looking at customers, our market, the things that we're wanting to focus on and everything. Figure out the customer's problem, right? And how your business can provide a solution, the things that you can do, right? My solutions are with CNC, okay? There's 100,000 different dust brushes on the market. There's clamps everywhere. There's all kinds of things, right? And all, but if I can come in and I can produce a high quality object at an affordable price that has a reliable support system behind it, can offer something that others can't, then that's going to make me my product looked at, strongly and all, considered strongly when, purchasing comes along for these customers and stuff, then, I want to look at what's out there. What's the problem with these items? What can I do to make these problems go away, or make them at least better, right? Less of a problem, and things like that. And so that's what I'm kind of working on. And I'm fortunate that I have a working relationship with Digital Woodcarver, CNCs and everything. And I handle all their support and training. So I've got to work with all the customers, right? And from all the years of troubleshooting things, or, how do you do this, or how do you do that, or what's the best way to do this, or the best way to do that, man, that market research, if you will, in a sense, man, here's what a majority of the calls and the problems I'm getting. Here's what a solution would be. This would be a perfect solution to help these folks and stuff. Man, I'm fortunate enough to be kind of in that situation that I could do that, right? And things like that. Determine the viability. So is there a market for what I'm offering, right? Is there a market for what I'm wanting to do? If there's not, or if the market is overly saturated and I just can't compete because I'm a small base business and I don't have the best quantity purchase prices, from vendors and suppliers and things like that just yet, because I'm kind of young on the market or whatever. So I'm still having to buy my raw materials from Amazon at retail price. And yes, if I have a business credit card, if I start my business and I get a business, debit card or something, I can use that with Amazon to set up a free business account. And then I have access to business prices on Amazon instead of paying retail prices. I can get business prices, which are discounted and everything. And that's free to set up a business account, as long as I have a business credit card associated with that account, or debit card, that I'm purchasing with a business card, my business bank account card. Identify, the businesses that are out there doing it and that are just killing it. One of my, and you should all kind of maybe just take a look at them too and everything, but I love the guys and girls over at Cutting It Close. If you've ever seen into their YouTube channels, they're very transparent about, everything. And I've learned a lot from them and all. And they've gone, they make these man stands, the little things that sit on the dresser, nightstand, hold your watch, your wallet, your keys, and your change, and all this stuff and everything. They sell for about $40 a piece on Etsy and everything. But, when they first started, they were making a few $100s here and there. And then now they're making millions each year in a very short period of time. And everything. And I want to be that guy or girl. I want to do something like that. I'm unfortunately, I'm starting late in the game, right? I'm almost 50 years old. We're probably all, somewhere, forgive me if you're younger than me and all, but we're probably all around that same range. So, but it's never too late to start, right? There's never too late to start. So now we're still defining what our market is, right? And what our product is. Who's our ideal customer? What is the market size? What's out there now, and things like that. And then how easy are we going to make it that a customer can, obtain something from us through website, through Etsy stores? Are we going to be selling on Amazon? What's the situation, right? Because right now, Amazon is the market leader, I guess you would, in many things, because you can get anything on Amazon and you can have it delivered within the next day, kind of thing, right? So we're, what can we do? But again, don't let those big corporations discourage you. Everybody starts somewhere. Now, validate your ideas, your product, and everything. When I started making the dust brushes and all, I kind of worked out a little bit of a deal to where I was getting two benefits. Number one, the plastic dealer that sells me the HDPE sheets and everything, they have CNCs, and they're like, hey, we'll provide you that. And, they gave me a good deal on the price and stuff like that. But could you make me, could I have 2 of your dust brushes, 1 for each of my machine? I said, absolutely. And I said, here, I said, also another thing is that's going to, yeah, for sure. Because I would love if you used one of the products that I make, and then give me feedback. Because they're running their machines. They got big 4-bay machines. They're running them all day. Right. So what better resource for feedback and information on, weak points and this and that, or whatever the situation is, or how great it is. I'm hoping that would be the latter. Right. But whatever it is, getting that feedback is going to be invaluable to me. Right. And so those type of things, finding, validating that it's going to be a good idea, that that people can use it and stuff, and letting a few people test it out, or whatever the situation is, we can go from there. And I don't want to spend too much time. I'm rambling on, but and then after you evaluate, if it's going to solve your problem, your customer's problem, what the competition's offering, if there's any competition in a particular item. And create a plan, create your financial plan, identify your costs, try to figure out what you might, be able to make, and, where you can get sales from, for not quick cash, but, quick capital to, reinvest to make more money and things like that. Now, the most important aspect is step, the next step is setting up the business. Everybody, that's wanting to do this, I recommend that you go through the steps. I used Zen Business. I love them online, and to set up my LLC. They manage all my documents. They're also my they handle all of my yep, there's the word for it. My banking, I do Zen, my banking, my business banking through Zen Banking, and everything. Zen Business is great. Very low cost to start up an LLC. They handle all the paperwork with the states, my federal tax ID number, all that stuff. They handle obtaining all that and everything. And with the IRS, everything, sales tax certificates and all that stuff. So determine what you can do. So on my particular zoning on my property is business zoning. It's kind of a residential / business where I could have, I can have a business on there. I can work from my home. I can have in a sense, a storefront, if you will. But not everybody at homes like that, residential office, where you could have like a home-based office and stuff. But then production, like a production environment and all, could be a little bit different. So figure out the zoning in your area and stuff like that, and what you can and can't do, and then for those that are out in the rural areas where it really, that, sometimes that doesn't matter, but it's still important, and everything. Get a P.O. box, so you're not using your physical address as your address, for things like that. Just kind of keep business and personal separate. When I was starting young and early and everything, I've been in business for myself most of my life. Everything I paid was out of my personal checking account. When I made money, when I made sales, it went right back into my personal checking account. And then then when the taxes came, my tax person hated the hell out of me and said, you got to get yourself a bank account, man. Because you're trying to figure out what receipt is business, what's personal, what's big gray area, and it's not really legal. You got to keep church and state separate. You know what I mean? So get a business account, get a P.O. box, things like that. But grasshopper.com is a great place to get like an 800 toll-free number. That's what we use at Digital Woodcarver. We have a toll-free number that that has different extensions and things like that. So I can we can do text messaging, voicemails, all that stuff, and it's great. Things like that. But set up your business. Okay. Now, ensuring that your funds are available, put some money back, it doesn't have to be big amounts of money, but let me see. Give me just 1 second. Hold on 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. 1 second. One moment. Okay. Da, da, da. All right. Now, if you're into reading books, great. If you're into audiobooks, awesome, right? Whether it's a hardback or audiobook, I have it in both versions because when I'm on the go. But right here, Profit First. This book is Transform Your Business from a Cash-Eating Monster to a Money-Making Machine, right? It helps you with creating a financial plan for your income and everything. And so basically, when money comes in and everything, profits immediately come right out of that and they go into an account. And then I literally have 5 accounts. One for that money goes, it gets divided, a certain percentage of the income comes in and gets direct deposited right into for fees and services and taxes and all that. So I have this money over each sale. This money is getting deposited into these different accounts so that when tax time comes, I'm not hit with a big bill and like, oh, where am I going to come up with the money? I've been building towards that each time. Profit First.
Hey, Laney.
Can't say enough good things about it. Yes.
Nobody can see the book.
Down here in the bottom corner?
Nope, you got full screen, looks like. At least on my end.
Hold on a second. Oh, man, what are we doing? Sorry, JR. Okay, can y'all see it down here in the corner now? I didn't realize JR was still on the screen with me. JR, you've been hanging out with me this whole time, man. Hopefully,
you're on a roll.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks. But Profit First by Michael Michalowicz. Phenomenal. And on Audible, like Prime, Amazon Prime Audible, I have the Audible version of that, and I listen to it while I'm driving. I listen to it, when I'm chilling and lounging, when I'm mowing the lawn on the riding lawnmower. I got my headset on, and I'm always listening to it. Right. So I love audiobooks. Okay. But anyway, so, planning, and ensuring sufficient funds are available for your business, and available for things, unforeseen circumstances or materials or whatever. It's not going to happen all at once. Like I said, I live paycheck to paycheck. So when money comes in, it gets dispersed. And then whatever I have to spend, right? Basically planning for your home-based business, the business plan, kind of just lay it out, write it down, what your goals are and everything, what your process is going to be, and just kind of just make notes. It'll all come together. The business plan will fall in place once you just start kind of recording what your goals and things. But use this sheet. There's a check boxes here for that. Setting up to operate, software, machines, whatever you need. But go through this. I'm not going to go through this whole document. That was, go through this if you're looking to start a business, whether it be a woodworking business or anything, but you're looking to start a business and all. This sheet is literally a helpful check off the boxes, right? Whatever the time frame is, not everything has to be done like, oh, it's got to all be done before I can actually sell something or whatever. Work the plan, make the plan, work the plan, and everything will come together. All the boxes will eventually be checked over time and stuff like that, and do what you can. All right. Now, for tonight's class, what we're going to do is we're going to take an idea. Okay. Now this is not an idea, like it's not a brand new idea, something, a brand new invention or creation. No, it's an existing item, but I'm making it premium. and I'm going to charge a premium price for it, right? I'm stepping up the game. So let's first take a look at our item for the evening. Okay, you all know I've got Lily, the tiger lily, the kitty cat, right, and everything. Well, Lily has a tree fort, kind of tree thing and everything, and she loves. There's one particular layer of this tree fort that's right in line with a big pane window that I have at the front of the house. And she's watching all the stray cats walk by. She's watching everybody. She's neighborhood watch. She's chills out in that windowsill all the time. And this cat thing, what a cat tree, let's call it, has like a platform that she could lay on, but it wasn't very well made, and so it's falling apart and stuff. So in tonight's product, we're taking what's called a cat perch for windows, and we're going to design one. We're going to develop the tool paths for it. We're going to figure out the plan, and then we're going to start to finish on this, bringing it to market, pricing, and all that stuff. Now, here's the thing. This particular one here, they range in price. They range in price of about 27 to 40, 15, depending on what it is. And on this particular item, this pillow and this bed is, excuse my French, it's shit. It's a fur cloth with holes on the end of it. And from one end of the bracket here to the other bracket on the other side, there's two steel pipes. Almost like clothes rod pipes. They're probably about half-inch diameter. They go from one side to the other. There's no support or nothing in the middle, and those rods go through the back of this cushion and the front of this cushion, so it kind of sinks and dips down. And there's no support or whatsoever, and it's just cheap, right? So I'm not going to have Lily, and I'm telling you, I'm not the only one. I've got some cat watchers and lovers that love Lily. They watch videos over on Facebook and all, not my videos, videos that the family members put out. But those cat lovers and everything, they see stuff that Lily's playing with, and I was like, oh man, that's cool. Can I get where can I get something like that, right, or whatever? And I tell them over here on Amazon, go, I got this one from Walmart, whatever it is, right? PetSmart and that kind of thing. Well, in this particular instance, I want to make Lily a sturdy cat perch for the window that is fit for a queen, if you will, right? So the first thing I started with was the bed. So let me go large here, and let me pull myself up to full size. All right. So the first things first is the bed. So this is and hold on a second. What is the deal? Give me just a moment. Let me see if I'm still hollow. There we go. And I'm still kind of hollow and everything. That's okay. But the bedding, right now, this bed is not cheap by any means. Now, this bed is thick, cushiony. It's currently, there's all different sizes, but this one happens to be 20 by 15 inches. Thunder rolling. 20 by 15 inches, and it is about 5 or 6 inches tall. It is stout, right? But with that premium bedding and all, is a premium price. The bed alone, not counting the perch and all, this cushion that I would like to be able to sell with this bed is $36 on Amazon, right? So first thing I'm going to have to do is to get started and everything. Yeah. So a big part of my product price is going to be in the bed, but I'm also going to be reaching out and looking for maybe a seamstress that can, I can buy the egg cushion, the egg foam cushion. Hold on a second. egg foam cushion that's inside. It's that egg foam. It's got plastic around it, but I can buy that by the sheet. If this was my production product, right? I can buy that by the sheet. I just need someone with a good sewing machine that can sew, or maybe I can source it wholesale from a reliable source that can make a good quality product for me, right? But I got to start somewhere, right? And so this is going to be the biggest part of my expense, but it's going to be a premium bed. This thing is not falling apart anytime soon. Right. So bedshirt companies, I'd probably reach out to them and start a relationship with them and let them know I'd like to buy their products, in bulk, wholesale, see if I can get some rates and stuff like that. Whatever it is, start those business relationships, whatever you got to do. But that is the bed that the platform is going to be made for. So 20 by 15. And this is currently right here, a no slip pad here. So wonderful. Don't have to worry about old Lily falling off the window sill. All right. So let's go back here. Now, the things that we have to look at as far as design aspects and everything. This particular one, if we were to kind of look here, it uses these knobs, right? For you loosen the knob, slides back and forth and blah, blah, blah. But these knobs are kind of right in the way of the bed, lays on top of those knobs and everything. And I know there's cushion there and all, but I mean, that's got to be bumpy, bulky. It's not going to sit flat. It's not going to look good. Could have been better, and we're going to make it better, right? So we're not going with the knobs. We're going to create a recessed pocket. We're going to use some hardware. So for us, the hardware that we're going to use, we're going to use these flat head, socket head, stainless steel, black oxide. Black is going to look beautiful with the wood. It's going to look very professional, very nice. We're going to use these black oxide, and then in the wood itself, we're going to use threaded inserts, and these inserts, an 80 piece for $8, it comes to 11 cents a piece, so it's going to be a good product that we'll use in here. So that's going to be some of our hardware. And then we're going to be pricing where these go back to. Give me a second. Go back to here. The hooks on the feet, the hooks are, let me see if there's a different picture on this particular one. They rest on the feet here. They rest up against the wall, right? So this kind of leg assembly kind of comes down and it rests against the wall. It's a fulcrum, if you will, and that's what kind of keeps the platform level and all. Well, with the cat jumping up and down, with the movement and everything, right now on their particular parts, they have this little adhesive pad on the end of the wood, this little adhesive sticker, right, to prevent marring. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to have these nice rubber feet. These feet have a 3/4 inch by 1.1 inch internal area, so it's going to slide right over our foot. So when we make the design, we're going to make sure that hook and everything has fits here and all. So these come in all different sorts of sizes and everything. And this particular pack here's a 20-piece set. And again, if I'm using my business card, I could set up a free business account and I could get business prices versus retail prices and things like that. But these come in different sizes and all. We are using the 20 millimeter by 30 millimeter, which is the 3/4 by 1.18. And so we're going to have those rubber feet slid over to, that's going to be touching our drywall walls and painted walls and all it's not going to, it's going to be padding on there, less marring and stuff like that. So these are some of the premium things that we're going to enhance this with. Our hooks, the hooks that go over the windowsill. Yes, we could probably find these somewhere and buy them in bulk and stuff, but it's going to be easier for us to buy the bar stock and cut it to length, make a jig for bending the little hooks, drilling the holes and everything for our little hooks. And we're going to make our own from raw bar stock and everything. So that'll hook in the windowsill versus trying to buy, like a 20 pack of this or that, and it not being the right product or the right size. Because most windowsills on that hook, about a 1/2 inch is all you have to work with, right? So the hook can't exceed a 1/2 inch. Otherwise it won't sit properly on top of that sill and things. So this is kind of the market item that we're going for. And if we were to, look at cat perches, right? For windows, they have suction cup perches. They have wooden ones. They have wooden ones with engravings on them. They have wooden ones that are like hammocks, right? And things like that. That cat looks scared as all because he knows, man, there ain't nothing holding me up but this piece of cloth that's sagging. There's no support there. Look at that shocking little cat there. But there's a lot of them on the market, right? And they're ranging from $40, $39, this and that, and 4-star, 5-star ratings and all. People are buying, right? So 50 of them bought last month for this product, 50 of these, and things. So not a big market share, 50 is not a lot in a month from Amazon, right? It's a small amount, but my 1,000 of these were bought in the past month, these wooden ones. That's getting more like it. I'd love 1,000 sales in a month for my items and things like that, but there's a lot of them out there, right? So they are saturated in the market. There's a lot, and hell, I haven't even looked at Etsy, right? This is only Amazon and things like that. So these are the things that, I've got to consider. Now, in the design aspect and everything, I've got to consider the bolt dimensions, the bolt head dimensions, because we're going to be creating a slot for these heads to sit recessed under, so that when they're tightened down, when this bed is going across and everything, there's no knobs or something keeping it, off center. It's going to be a nice platform for this. So this particular bolt head, the thickness here is about 0.11 inches thick. So 0.125 will be have us recessed just under the surface, which would be good. The diameter that we're going to be using is a 1/4 20. We're going to be using a 1/4 20 bolt with 1/4 20 inserts and everything. So the diameter, the maximum diameter of the head is going to be 0.5 inches in diameter. So the head is going to be about a 1/2 inch in diameter. And so we need to make sure that our slot can accommodate that head and everything. So we got to consider that. When it comes to the threaded inserts and everything, the drill bit used to drill the threaded inserts is a 9mm bit, which is about just under 3/8 of an inch, 0.324, something like that. So on our pieces, we're going to be using 3/4 inch stock. And with that, we're going to be setting up. The CNC is not going to do everything. We're going to have a router table set up with a bit, a flush trim bit. And that's all, the only bit that's going to be in there. So we're going to make up I've got a little router. It doesn't have to be a full router table. We're going to make it could be a quick and dirty. Hell, I could have a French cleat system on the wall. I could create a French cleat platform with a router mounted to the bottom of it with just a flush trim bit in there, because its sole purpose is going to be when I cut these parts out, I don't have any vacuum clamping right now or anything like that. In my jig and stuff, I don't want the part moving and potentially getting damaged, because, screw ups is money, right? So I'm going to put tabs in there. So when I take this part out of the jig, it goes over to that station. And the sole purpose of is, I take the chisel, I break out the tabs. Now this piece that I'm going to have left, these side pieces, they're going to have tabs on them. They simply get run through this bit. All the tabs get flush trimmed to the rest of the piece. They get milled away within seconds. And that's all that little station is going to do. So that station is going to be just our tab remover. And it cleans up the part before it goes to sanding. It cleans up the part and gets rid of those tabs and creates, that flush, clean look. So that's all it's going to do. Now, I'm also going to have a station. Now I might have an actual router table. And if anyone wants to know how to build a router table, I got a video step-by-step on how to build a router table, but on YouTube. But it could be a platform again, or it could be a router table. But this time, let me see here. Bear with me just a second. Amazon. Let's see here. Slot router bit. Okay. Images. Give me just a second. Hold on. It's not a slot. It's a tenon router bit. There we go. All right. Let's move over here onto the screen. All right. So the next, the other router that I'm going to have is going to have a adjustable slot bit in it that I can make the slot whatever width I want. If when we go to do the design on this, we'll figure out if we want to do this or not. But when my pieces get cut out, when my side pieces, those side pieces that slide back and forth up to the window, the wall and everything, that had the knobs in that photo that we're not going to use, when it's sliding back and forth, the slot, the recess pocket that I'm going to be using when we design this, is it going to have a tenon that rides in there with shoulders and all that it sits on? Or is the whole piece going to go up in the slot and slide back and forth? What's going to give me the best stability and all that stuff? And if it's a slot, I don't want, by having to put a slot at the end of that piece, now that turns my part into a two-sided project if I'm using my CNC. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to waste time flipping the part over just to cut the other side of a rabbet or a dado to create this tenon and all, especially if I don't have the ability to just cut it on the, the end of my table or something like that. I'm going to set up a workstation with just that holds just this bit, and all these pieces that get cut out on my table, they're going to go over to their next station, and they're all going to get just run through, and that one tenon's going to get cut on. That's all the whole purpose of that is what that does. It's going to do that. Then I'm going to have, I'm going to decide for myself on my threaded inserts. Do I make a jig, depending on how high of a clearance I have on my CNC? Do I make a jig that will hold all these pieces in an upright position that I can put, 8 or 10 pieces in or whatever, and I can clamp them down, and my router can come and cut the 9mm holes for me to put my threaded inserts in. It can cut my 9mm holes and stuff. Or am I going to use a drill press? Am I going to just try to do these by hand, which I don't really recommend? Try to set up some kind of workstation where it's precise. Because if anything is off, then it throws off the whole product and the way it gets assembled and the cleanliness and all that stuff. Set up jigs and your workstation. So is my CNC going to make my holes? And then all I have to do is go back and screw in, just, drop in the threaded inserts. Or is my drill press going to do it where I have, one position does all the back holes, a perfect turn in some way or another does all the front holes and they line up perfectly, whatever the situation is, right? So I'm going to have a CNC at this point. I got a table saw or, skill saw or whatever, but a table saw, if we can get one, even a little small benchtop one will be fine to cut our parts down to size. We're going to have a CNC jig that we can drop these parts into that will, be able to machine from. It's rinse and repeat, pop, take one out, put one in. We're going to have a router to get rid of the tabs. We're going to have a router to do the tenons if we're using that in the design. All these things, right? Just this in my little shop, my little bitty shop, I've got this little work environment that I'm going to create that as one man, I can go from one position to the next. So I can do all my routing and all that stuff because I don't have an auto tool changer. So I got to change bits when it's needed, but we're going to try to minimize tool requirements on there. So it's like minimal tools. But then when all those get done and I move over to my next station, now I'm getting rid of all my tabs, right? When they're all done, they go over, and if I'm doing the tenon thing, which we'll figure out, then they're getting all the tenon cut. Then they're going to go to sanding, and then I've got a little station that has all where the assembly happens. The rubber bumpers go on the feet, right? Those rubber bumpers go on. My threaded inserts go in. Assembly happens. I always do a test assembly on each piece to make sure everything fits together, make sure everything looks good. Then it comes apart and it gets packaged and everything, right? What is our time? And through this whole process, we're trying to minimize the time from machining to shipping, because our price and our break even and all that's going to be based off that. All right. Speaking of that, have I lost? Is everybody still with me? Let me know if you're bored and ready to go to sleep. If any of this is interesting to you, let me know where you stand. Okay. And everything. Give me a thumbs up. Just let me know. Okay. Now, in the files that I gave you, each and every one of you have a spreadsheet. And this spreadsheet is a business product pricing workbook. I spent a lot of hours creating this workbook that things are linked together, and there's formulas and all kinds of stuff that will help you with setting up your products and all. So let's just take a quick look. Make sure that everybody can see. I'm going to move myself to the right, over to the right. Okay. And bear with me just a second. Stand by just a moment. Okay. I just want to see what I look like on the screen to y'all and what y'all see. All right. So let's look at the tabs and everything first. So we have our product break-even pricing formula that we just plug in. We type in some numbers and it'll help us out. So we'll work with that in just a second. Our fixed costs worksheet. Now, fixed costs are costs that are there every month, every year, everything. So they're like your rent or mortgage. Okay. Payment. What is the payment for the space that you're working in and everything? So what's your rent? What's your mortgage? What's the cost for the property? Property taxes, your utilities. Okay. So electric, light, gas, water. Salaried employees, if you were in a business, salaried employees, not hourly, salaried employees, administration team, and all that falls under fixed cost, not variable cost. Variable costs are your hourly employees and everything. So those are variable costs. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But salaried, salaries and things like that, wages, those types of wages, all that falls under fixed cost. Annual or insurance, right? Business insurance, if you're paying employee insurance, all your insurances, anything, property insurance, that kind of stuff, all of that, we should know what our bills are, right? Loan payments, if you have any loans for the business and all, whatever that payment is. Okay. Your equipment leasing, if you're leasing any equipment and you don't own it, if you finance your CNC machine or whatever the case may be, that falls under, your equipment leasing. Internet and phone, software subscriptions, hey, a software subscription to Etsy or, Amazon Prime Business, whatever it is, if there's any subscription costs or anything like that, for your website, Wix.com kind of thing, those fees, those software subscriptions, that all goes under there. Professional fees, if you have, fees for your tax, your accountants, lawyers, any kind of professional fees that you pay. Now, again, those are fixed fees. Your variable fees are credit card processing fees through PayPal, or when you sell something on Etsy and they charge you a 10% fee on every sale. Those are variable fees, and those go under variable costs. So that we'll see that in just a minute. Right now, these are your fixed costs. These are these hard fees that don't change. There's no fluctuation. They're this much every month, this much every year, this much every day, whatever. The marketing and advertising, if you're doing any of that, goes into fixed cost. Office supplies go under fixed cost. Your maintenance and repairs on machines and your building and all that all goes under fixed cost. And then if there's any licensing and permits, your business license and stuff like that. All right. So these are, what we want to do is we want to try to figure out what our monthly bills are, our regular monthly bills. And these could be your, bills that, your electric, utility, cable, that kind of thing, and all for right now for your home-based business. But again, we're trying to keep things separate, and stuff like that. Your bills. So you have your January, February, your yearly income, your total annual cost, and then your average annual cost over that year. What's your average and everything? Now, right now, my column for average annual cost is wrong. Not wrong, because in order to create an average, you have to have 2 or more values. I only have 1 value in here, but next month when I pay that $310 building fee and stuff, my average is going to, as I start to fill in things that don't change and stuff, my average will change accordingly and all. So you take, and this right now is being divided by 12. If I took this and divided it by the 2 that I had in there, my average is $310, right? So just know that you're, doing, it's based on divided by 12, right? So keep that in mind. So now that's your fixed cost. Then your machine cost worksheet. Your machine cost. We're not talking every little router and sander and everything. You got those little tools, the little handheld tools. They don't mean jack. Machines, your capital assets, your CNC machine, anything over $1,000, essentially, basically. Your CNC machine, large table saw, big drum sander, whatever you might have, your capital assets, not your little handheld palm rotary sander or your $200 miter saw or anything like that. That doesn't go in machine cost. In my case, in this example here, we have a digital wood carver 2440, purchase price $6,098. Now, we want to keep track of when the warranty ends on this. Estimated lifespan. All right, how many years do you realistically, expect this machine to be in production? And at the end of that term, at the end of the years, when its usefulness is kind of run out, what's our salvage value? If I were to take this to a scrap yard, what could I salvage it for, kind of thing? Any monthly maintenance costs on it, your operating hours. What realistically do I expect to operate? Now, for my machine, I expect to operate 20,000 and 2,080 hours a year. That's 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, 2,080 hours for the year, right? So annual operating hours on that machine, if production is good and all, that's what I expect that machine to run. So that means that I have an estimated lifetime hours of that 2,080 times that 6 years. So there's 12,480 lifetime hours on this machine, right? So in depreciation every year, your machine depreciates. Now, basically depreciation, just so for those of you that are unaware, you have your purchase price. You subtract your salvage value from that, and divide that by your estimated lifespan. So in my case, 6,098 minus that 150, and then we're going to divide that by the 6 years, right? So each year I'll be depreciating $991 a year on that machine. All right, so once we have those, fill out the form, right? Know your stuff, right? Get your machines figured out. And if you don't know the exact answer, just figure out what you want that machine. If I wanted that machine, if I wanted my lifetime, if I thought my estimated lifespan was 10 years, which I could absolutely get 10 years out of a CNC, no problem. But I think in 6 years, there's going to be more advanced options that I can go out and buy and stuff, and stuff like that. So this particular machine, it's going to be in production for 6 years, 12,480 hours roundabout. All right. So once we have our machine cost, and then in our other workbooks here, we have our products that we're going to make. We'll come back to that one last, but wood inventory. Okay. So in this particular sheet, there's drop-down lists of all your plywoods, or majority of kind of some of the major ones. So you can choose from the drop-down list, and on your dimensional lumber, there's a list of different types of lumber, wood, and everything. But you're going to put in you're going to fill in the blanks, right? length, width, thickness, and the grade. In this case, Baltic birch grade B. Side B means that one side is a great, beautiful. The other side is not so much. So it's a BB, right? So one side is beautiful. The other side is basically beautiful. That's not what the BB stands for, but it's not, it's not a premium two side. But in this case, we need to break it down, right? This sheet, this 4x8 sheet, got to break it down into board foot, square foot, and square inches, because some of our projects only use, a certain amount of square inches and all. And then what is our price per sheet? Now, it used to be I could get a sheet of Baltic birch 4x8, $30 a sheet. Now roundabout, we're in the 100 something. $98. Are you guys still with me? Am I losing something, JR?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. And so now once we know our price and everything, now the formulas are going to start kicking in. It's going to tell us our price per board foot, per square foot, and per square inch, right? Now, it also, when I order these sheets and everything, how many am I ordering at a time? What's my regular order going to be? What is my reorder quantity when I'm down to 2 or 3 sheets? Is that when I reorder? Is it 5 sheets? In this case, in this example, have 4 sheets. So right now I have 6 on hand. So I'm keeping track of how many sheets I have left, and it's the software is monitoring it, right? Got a green check mark, everything's good. Now, if I get down below my sheets and everything, then it's going to change. It's going to be a red X. It's going to say reorder, right? It's going to let me know I need to reorder this particular item. So I can keep track of my inventory of my wood, because really, sandpaper and, screws and hardware and things like all these little things and all. Yeah, it's important to know them. It's important to know their cost and their quantities and what you're using and all that. But, if you're just getting started and trying to price things, your biggest expense is going to be what the product is made from, right? Not the little hardware assembly, not how much glue did I use in that joint or this joint and all that. All that's bloat BS that you don't really need to focus your attention on at this moment. Now, as you start getting more and more involved, you get into, you're really now, you're breaking your business down, because your whole goal over the course of the business and all is to get your product price, manufacturing product price, down as low as you can, so profits go up, right? Bottom line, right? And everything. So we're not really tracking every nickel and dime at this time. We're tracking all the big expenses and all, but come down the road, we might start breaking down the cost of, how many screws I used in it, how many, threaded inserts and things like that, and what that cost me, and all that'll start to come into play. It'll all start coming into play. But right now, it's not the major focus. Okay. So right now it's my sheet goods and my dimensional lumber at this point and everything. Now in my product, okay, we have product sample ABC and DEF, right? In product sample ABC, my product price, my sales price is, I'm selling this for $48.89. The one item per package when it gets shipped. From the time, literally, and these percentages on the production time, that's minutes and percentages. Okay, so 45 minutes is 0.75, that kind of thing. 15 minutes is 0.25, 30 minutes is 0.5, that kind of deal, right? So it's all based on 1. Anything less than that, 1 is 1 hour. So in this case, from production, from milling to sanding to packaging, getting ready, it's out the door, it's all packaged, ready to go. This particular product takes 45 minutes to machine, sand, package, and even put a finish on it, out the door. Okay. So shipping cost is it goes in a medium rate box. It ships priority mail, and it's about $17.50 currently with the USPS prices. Now, the size of my box, all this size, length, width, and weight, that's all for my shipping, so I can make my labels and stuff like that. Break-even point. We're going to talk about break-even in just a minute. Profit margin. I want to make. I'm happy with making 25% on a product. 30% is great. 40% is even better. 50% is awesome, right? So what margin? So it's a margin that I would like to make, my desired margin on this. We'll talk, that all comes in the next sheet as well. Again, what's my replenish quality? How many do I have on hand? And what's my status? This is my product now. Now I'm keeping track of, when I'm down low, right? If I only have 4 in stock, hey, we got to get more of these made, right? So, what do I have on hand? So it's going to track, it's going to monitor and let me know when I need to reorder or re-up, start making these products again. If I'm making a whole line of things, it's going to keep track of my inventory as long as I keep track of my sales, right? So you've got this worksheet. It's going to do some of that stuff for you, but this is where you would fill out your product, what you're making, what you're selling. Now, let's go over to the actual worksheet. Okay. Now this worksheet, this sheet is going to help you determine what your break-even point is on a product, and that which ultimately is going to give you your sales price on a product. We need to break even means that we need to, after all the variables of fixed cost and variable costs and everything are, taken out of it. How much did it cost me to make the product? What did it cost me to make the product? What did I break even on? Now, anything above that is profit. Okay. But what does it cost to actually make that product, to get it made and out the door? That's what we have to determine. And then that's going to help us determine what our sales price is and our margin and things. So let's take a quick look at this sheet. Now, what this sheet does is this top area allows you to, you don't put your whole inventory in here. It's one item at a time. You're using this as one sheet. You're using this one sheet to determine what your price is for a particular product, your break even and your sales price. And so in this case, now I do have a drop down. So any of the products that are in my product list that I've made, that product list, that inventory list, any products there will show up here. So I can say, okay, I want to know what my product pricing is for product ABC. Okay. Now, right now, the on the fixed cost per hours, the variable cost per hours, the break even, the selling price, and the margin, those are all formulas. Those are going to get populated. Those gray areas are going to get populated by the sheet below. The orange areas are the areas that I need to fill in. What is my production time? And again, from machining to shipping, whatever stations it's going through, how long does it take? And this isn't like hustle, bust your ass. I'm going to frantically do it so I can do it in the smallest time possible. Working at a regular, normal pace with regular breaks and potty breaks and all of that stuff. What is the time from start to finish on a product? If we spent time working on a product, what's that time? And anything beyond that's called slack time. We'll talk about that in just a second. So for this particular product, it's 45 minutes. Now, per day, realistically, how many products can I produce per day? Okay. In an 8-hour day, with everything going on and all, how many can I make, package, finish, or make, sand, finish, package, and have ready to go out at the end of each day? In this case, 6.5. I can comfortably make 6.5 a day per day. So now, knowing those two numbers and all and everything, I'm going to come down here. My fixed cost, all these numbers come from your fixed cost worksheet. Those fixed costs that we talked about a moment ago, all these numbers are populated from that. So it tells you what your fixed costs are per day, per hour, per day, per week, per month, and per year. So if you fill out your fixed cost sheet and you stay on top of it, these numbers will stay current and everything, and you'll know what your fixed costs are, okay, for these items. Now let's come down to the variable cost. So we have, when it comes to, just so you know the formula, what we're dealing with here, our break-even point per unit is our total fixed cost divided by the selling price per product minus the total variable cost per product, okay? And so in our case, the total fixed cost per unit, per hour and everything are going to be up here. So for this one, the total fixed cost is about 28 cents, 29 cents, per product. But let's look at our variable cost. So let's start with labor. Okay, labor is time times wage. Okay, That equals labor. So with time, we have our hours worked. Again, regular work hours, not rushing, trying to get things done. Regular working hours. Come in, clock in, do my job, clock out. Breaks, potty breaks, lunch breaks, anything, someone going out and taking a smoke break, whatever it is, all those other activities, they fall under slack time. And it's hard to kind of keep track of all that, when somebody goes to the bathroom and everything. So we're going to use a fixed percentage of that, about 25%. 25% of our 8 hours worked is 25% of that is going to be breaks, lunch break, breakfast break, pee break, whatever, potty break, that kind of thing. So we're going to use the 25% as our slack time. So in this case, on this product, hour and 45 minutes was worked on this product. And the slack time was about 43 minutes of that, potty breaks and things like that, lunch break and all, whatever it is, 15-minute break kind of thing. And so the total time on that remaining time is 0.77 minutes. So about 47 minutes of work time on it. And again, I can produce about 6.5 units per day. Again, this formula comes from what I put up above. My wage now, on average, okay, so not the age for the employee that was working on that part, right? My average hourly employee, my average hourly rate and everything, in this case is about $14.50 an hour. And unforeseen costs are the employee, if I have insurance that I have to pay because I do have employees, employee taxes, holiday pay, maternity leave breaks, all those things and all that comes in the unforeseen costs. And again, of your average, it's about 30% generally. If you poll most businesses and stuff like that, it's about 30%. Your unforeseen costs, those those types of things, holiday pays and insurance and all, it's about 30% of your hourly, average. And also we're going to use that. So with my $14.50 hourly rate, $4.35 of that goes to those unforeseen costs. And so the total wages is $18.85, and the total labor per unit is on that 77 minutes is $14.43. That's going to be the biggest part of my cost, right? There's that labor cost. All right, now, so time versus wage, that's going to be your cost. So you fill in the orange areas. All the rest will get filled in for you. And I know we're spending a lot of time on these documents. We haven't gotten to the design yet, but materials now, this is on, again, variable cost and all. Note, just keep in mind for this example here, again, we're doing one product at a time. This particular major material cost, woods, sheet goods, things like that, okay? Your minor costs are your glue, stain, sandpaper, etc. They're not really, at this point in time, in the beginning stages and things like that, they're really not the main focus. They're important, but they're really not the main focus. Okay, so now, if you're, if you're quoting, prices and things like that, try to consider putting a buffer in on your material costs and things like that. And so a nice buffer for your material would be about 30%, a 30% buffer. So we'll use that as an example. And in this particular example, one sheet of Baltic birch plywood runs $98. We know that from our cost sheet. And we can produce 20 of these units from that one sheet. Okay. So 20 of these units can get cut out of that one sheet. And so on our wood per unit, it's about $4.90. If you want to figure in your finishes, your varnishes, finish, hardware, other materials and all that, there's places for it. You can fill in those blanks. But the material buffer, 30%. We're going to add 30% to that $4.90. And so our total material cost is $6.37 for that item. Okay. Machining costs. So when our machines are running and everything, the capital assets, large machines, CNCs, table saws, etc., is not your little palm sanders and all that stuff. But we have our present value plus our future value, and we'll talk about future value. We'll go back to the sheet and look at that for a second. But future value basically is what it would cost to replace that machine. Okay. So you figure out, kind of get an idea of what it would cost and then you divide that by your estimated lifetime hours, and then you multiply that by your wear and tear, and roughly about 10% of wear and tear. That gives you your machine rate. Now, if we go back to our machine cost worksheet, on my $6,098 CNC machine that it cost me to purchase it, in the future, most likely, if I ever had to replace that, I'm estimating it's going to cost me somewhere around $7,500. Because of inflation or whatever the case may be, it's not going to be cheaper. It's probably going to be more, and things like that. So to replace that machine, I'm estimating it's about $7,500 to replace that particular machine, right? That machine. All right, coming back to here now. So the total machining cost, good. Our present value, $6,098, plus our future value, $7,500. Divided by the estimated lifetime hours, 12,480 lifetime hours, and then multiply that by 10%. We've got a machining cost of about 11 cents per unit. Okay. Fees, credit card processing fees, website fees, miscellaneous fees. About $1 per unit is what I've estimated based on, when I sell at PayPal, it's 3.9% plus 10 cents. Or 30 cents now. Used to be 10 cents. So 3.9% or plus 30 cents. Etsy used to be like just like a couple of percentage. Now it's 10%, per transaction and things like that. So in this case, in this example, I'm just using $1 per unit I got website fees and my credit card processing fees. So $2 per unit. Now, my total variable cost, all of these total costs right here, total time or total labor, should I say, the material cost, machining cost, and my fees, $22.91 per unit. $22.91. So I take that $22.91 and the break-even point. Break-even is total labor plus the total material cost plus the total machining hours plus the total variable cost, right? So all of those things added together, we're about $24.74. So I got $22.91, 11 cents, $6.37, $14.43, and that is it. So we're at about $24.74 per unit. Now, ideally, the desired margin that I want to make on this product, I can set my own margin. And it's all going to be helping from market research. I can set whatever price I want to sell this item for. If it doesn't sell, then I need to change. I need to look at it and all. So what's my desired margin? And for this, I'd like to make 40% margin. So I take my break-even point and I come in and my break-even divided by 1 minus the desired margin. So 1 kind of equal, 1 minus, in this case, 0.40. That divided by, which in this case is 0.60, if you want to know. So 1 minus 0.40 is 0.60, okay? So if I take my break even and I divide that by my 0.60, my total selling price is going to be $41.24 on this particular product. And that's what I, if I want to make 40% above my break even, that's where I'm going to be at. So I can sell this for $35. I can sell it for, if I need to be at this price if I want to, make my 40% margin. But I had that margin that I could work with and stuff, for sales and discounts and promotions and things like that. I have room to work with and all. So this sheet, one item at a time, will help you kind of break down that item and all. You just have to know a couple of things. How long does it take you to make it? What cost, how much wood did you use and all that stuff. fill in the little orange blanks, and it's going to help you with that. All right. Okay. All right. Let's go back now. And thanks, Billy McGee. You have a good night. Okay. So are y'all still with me? It's 9 o'clock. So we spent a lot of time on these two documents, but I'm presenting these to you. I wanted to kind of give you a little idea of what they were all about, so that you know what the hell you're looking at and what you're doing with it when you have it. If you want to use it, who knows, right? But it might help you. It might help you determine. You might be selling products already right now, and you might have just said, I just want to make 2 times my material cost and I'm happy, or I want to make at least 3 times my material cost and I'm good to go. But this might help you really start to kind of hone in your product pricing, so you're becoming profitable. Now we're making money, and now our business is becoming fruitful, and it's paying for itself, and it's paying its bills, and we're not, we have more control. When I know how much it costs me to make something and how much I'm selling it for, when I know, and I'm not just guessing and everything, I feel much more confident in my business, my longevity, my product, and everything. And I have room that I can go higher or lower. And, in particular products, I might try to sell on Etsy this particular product, and it might not go, nobody's buying and everything. Okay. So maybe I can't make 40% margin because it's priced too high. But all right, let's bring it down. Let's go down to about 30% margin, and let's see where we're at, and try that again. People will pay a premium for a premium product. They will, you get what you pay for, and, sometimes lower isn't actually better. I've sold things, where I felt like, I don't want to be too high, I want to be fair and, fun and just give it away and all that stuff and everything. And it shot me in the foot. One, I wasn't making hardly anything on it. And also it kind of cheapened my product. Sometimes I'm overpriced and it just doesn't move, but then I find that sweet spot where, hey, I'm just going along and things are going well and stuff. And now that I know more, I have more control on my business expenses and machining and labor. And I'm the only labor there is, right? So, and all that stuff. But I have an hourly rate myself, kind of thing. I pay myself. But all that stuff is figured in. And once I know that, then I can figure out these things. And this sheet is hopefully to help you with that. All right, let's get down to business. Let's hopefully, are y'all still awake and still with me? Are you still able to go on for a little bit longer? I hope so. All right. Okay. Hopefully this was somewhat educational, but you have the worksheets now. Hopefully it helps you in your business. Okay. So now let's take a look at our product. So the first thing I want to do is on the product here, we're going to start off with, let's go to top view. And on our product, it's all going to start with the cushion, right? The in this case, the little seat. And my seat is 20 inches by 15 inches. Okay. And so I am working off of that. Now, in here, let's say that, let's go here and I'm going to go 20 inches by 6. And this is a kind of a top-down view looking at, top-down, but this is kind of a side view, if you will, right? And so on my side view and everything, I'm going to have, the brackets, which we're going to actually create them in just a second. I'm just kind of giving you a rough drawing here. And then there, on this particular piece here, this bracket, there's going to be a rabbit, and that's in the wrong spot. Bear with me just a second. Let me undo that. Bear with me. There is going to be a platform that is going to span between these two brackets and everything. So it's going to be flush with the top of the brackets. The brackets are going to be able to slide back and forth. We'll talk. Well, again, this is just a rough look at it. I got to slide back and forth. We're going to have our screws and our inserts and stuff. And but this top big box, that's my cushion, right? It's going to sit on top across the whole thing. So it's going to cover, you know, all the way across, and it's going to have a nice flat, sturdy platform, no little rods. We're going to be above and beyond what anyone else is doing, and we're going to be able to offer a little bit more of a premium for that. But it's going to be the window perch for the Queen of Queens or the King of Kings, right? So this is just kind of a general rough show you what's about to happen. So now on our part, let's first of all, I'm going to draw out a scenario of like a window sill, right? So imagine, if you will, let me undo this. Let's go here. And let's go here. And let's say that right here. All right. Let's imagine that this upper block right here is my window. This block here is my window sill. And then this is my wall. Okay. So on these three items. So this lower rectangle here, that's my wall, my windowsill, and my window. And on my window, on the window and everything, there is a small lip that it's kind of like a channel. Bear with me just a second. Okay. And my product is going to hook into that windowsill, that window framing, that metal framing. It's going to hook in that framing, and the legs are going to come down and touch the wall. Now, some of the things that I need to consider: the area of the windowsill, the side, the far side of it and all. I'd like to kind of stay in line with what I saw online and everything. So this windowsill has to be kind of an average windowsill. Now, my windowsills in my home and everything, they're about 2.5 inches. So from the window, if I measured from the window out to the end, it's about 2.5 inches. As long as we are under 6 inches from the wall to the end of the windowsill, so from the face of the wall to the windowsill, as long as we're under 6 inches, we're going to be, good and everything. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. From the window, from the actual window to the end of the windowsill, 6 inches. Now, from the wall to the end of the windowsill, because sometimes the windows are kind of recessed in, right? I want to try to be under 3 inches, because my leg is going to, here, hold on. My leg is going to, bear with me. Let me go in and trim some things. So select this and hit delete. That. No, we'll leave that one there. We'll get rid of this one. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that. And hold on, leave that one there. Delete that. Okay. So, this one, bear with me. This one. Oh, Laney, come on now. Hold on a minute. Let me try that again. Now, of course, I'm just rough sketching this just to let you know what's going on. Delete. On the hook here, it's gonna be a metal hook underneath the piece, and it hooks onto the windowsill. There's gonna be an opening that comes around, and then it's gonna come in and on the wall, and then my bed, sits up here, right? So this area here that goes up and rests against the wall. Remember, I have that rubber foot that's going to go on there to prevent marring and all. But that area there, that distance, when I make my piece here, it can slide as far back or up depending on where my wall is. it's about 3 inches. I'm going to have 3 inches. So I want to make sure that my windowsill doesn't exceed that, or this particular cat bed won't, fit that need unless I change up my bracket design or something like that. But so with that being said, let's lay out the actual part. Okay, so the part is going to be cut from a piece of material that is about 9 inches by, we'll call it 7, and I believe 7 1/4 is a 1/8. Do they make 1/8s or is it 1/9s? 1/8s. I think they make 1/8s. I know they make 1/4s. They make 1/6, 1/8, 1/10, and 1/12. Yeah. So 1/8 is 7 1/4. So 7 1/4. That's what I want. I want 7 1/4 by about, let's call it 10 inches. So 7.25 comma 10. And let's do it the other way around. 10 comma 7.25. There we go. Now, on this part, so you can have a visual and everything, let's go back to here. The part that we're focusing on right now in this is this lower bracket right here. Not that upper piece, not this upper piece here, but this lower bracket right here. This is what we're making. And the distance from where the part goes against the wall to this upright right here is about 3.5 to 4 inches, the distance there, that opening, if you will. And it comes right straight into the bottom of this. Now, from the wall to the back of this part, if this was a rectangle and everything, we're probably in the range of about 7 1/4. It could be even around 6. It could be whatever you want. We're designing it on our own right now. So in this case, I can use guidelines to help me with kind of my layout and everything. So we'll bring in a guideline. I don't want to bring my part right up to the edge. I want to cut the part out of this piece of wood. I want a nice clean cut around this bracket. And there's 2 of them that we're making. So, but I want a nice clean cut out of this bracket. I do not want it right up against the edge of the wood, just in case my edge is, not very clean and all that stuff. Because I'm going to be cutting these parts out on a table saw. I'm going to be batching this stack of wood that's going to go into the jig on my CNC and everything. But right now, I'm making a one-off, assembling it, checking it out, testing it, whatever, a couple days with the cat. I don't know. But I'm just making one right now to get all the bugs worked out. And then I'll start developing the jig, for the production and the different workstations and all. So right now we're making one. So let's say from here, let's say we come back. I'm going to go back 4 inches. And from here again, I'm going to come back. Let's say that we go a total of, let's go 7 inches. Okay. Now, from the here, this is going to kind of create a bottom part. So from here, I'm going to come up now. How wide do I want this leg? That's going to be the key thing, right? How wide do I want this leg? Now, I'm actually, believe it or not, going to base that off of my rubber foot. On my rubber foot that I'm going to be using. Bear with me just a second. It wasn't that one. Let me find my proper web page here. It's not that one. Hold on, I got to find my page with my rubber feet. It is this one. My rubber. Give me just a minute. button that tab. That's my bolts. That's my, oh, it was on the other screen. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. On my rubber feet here. Now, of course, they come. You can look up rubber feet. There's all kinds. There's kinds that screw in. There's kinds that slide over. There's kinds that adhesive and all that stuff. Whatever you want, right? I want a kind that slides over, a nice, beautiful fit. It's going to have a nice, clean look to it and everything, and it's going to look like a little bit quality. Now, on this one, it's 3/4 inches wide. That's how wide my stock is, and it's 1.1 inches wide. Now, these come in different sizes. I can get different sizes and all, but with the length, in a lot of cases, what I found when looking at these rubber feet, with the length comes, instead of 0.75, it might be 0.78 or 0.8. It kind of loses its width, and I don't want a sloppy foot. I want a nice foot that, fits and everything and stuff. And I've got to keep in mind, my stock is 3/4. I am going to be doing some sanding, some light sanding. It's not going to be really any need for aggressive sanding or anything like that. So there's going to be a little slight taken off, but still my foot should fit, very well, but I don't want it sloppy. So in this case, 1.1 inches is kind of what that boot is. Now, again, there's all different sizes that I can deal with. So on this 20 by 40 millimeter, this one is 1.49 inches by 3/4, right? And I might like the stability of a 1.5 inch prop that goes against the window versus a 1.1 inch. Let's look at the design and let's see. So let's come down here and let's in our design, I'm going to go, let me grab my tape measure again. Stop playing the game there. There we go. I've got 1.1 inches, or I've got 1.49 inches, or 1.5 inches. We'll just go 1.5. Let me undo that. We'll just go 1.5 because it stretches. 1.5. And so my foot going against the window is right here. And I might like that 1.5 inch, going against the window versus the 1 inch. It all depends, and it's not a lot of weight, about 40, 50 pounds, it'll hold, and things like that. So it doesn't have to be very big and bulky. In this case, I'm actually going to go with the 1.5. So in my drawing, I'm going to go ahead and draw out the rectangle here all the way to here. Okay. And then this part is going to come up here all the way up. And how tall, which we haven't laid that out yet, so I'm not going to draw that part yet, but how tall this piece is, from the bottom of it up, it's going to be, I need to have enough clearance to clear the windowsill, which is a typically 3/4 windowsill, and come around, have a little bit of an air gap, and all. So I'm going to call it, on that bracket, I'm going to call it 5 inches. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go 5 inches. And so I'll go ahead and draw that out. Oops. To here. Now I'm going to start. Let's hide the guidelines for a minute. And I'm going to take and oops. I'm going to start kind of fancying this up a little bit. So I want to get a little bit of a radius going on here. I like a nice transition coming in. And then on the back, I can, reduce, some of the waste and stuff here and all, and have a nice radius come in there as well. This is going to stay square. So let's go with an arc. And let's say that I start transitioning. Into a nice curve here, and here when in here, let's pick a spot. I want this to start making its curve. I'll use my guidelines again. Give me just a second. View the guidelines again, because I need to put a guideline. I need a guideline at least 3. That's 3 and that's 4. So let me find 3.5. 3 5/16, 3 1/4. Okay. So my window sill, like I said, from the wall to the end of the window sill, it's got to be within 3 inches, right? So 3 1/4 clears me. 3.5, is better and that kind of thing. So what I want to do is I'm going to start transitioning. I'm going to start transitioning here. Let me go back to the arc tool. And let's turn the guides off. Now, the thing I love about SketchUp is, I can come in and start, taking things away, once I have them drawn. Now, I probably want this to be a little bit smoother, but I will fillet this. I'll smooth everything out in Vectric. When I'm laying out the part to cut out and all, I'll do all the smoothing of the fillets and everything. I'll fine tune. Now SketchUp, I just use it for my rough concept, but then I'll fine tune everything in Vectric. All right, let's go ahead and start doing some push pulling here. So let's go to P for push pull. This part is going to be 0.75 inches thick. We can get rid of that. Delete. Now, on my part, let's get a guideline in here, and let's find our center point. Oh, got to turn the guides on. Yeah. About coming in from the edge, I want to come in. My hole, my 9mm hole is about 3.25 inches in diameter, but it's a 9mm hole. And forgive me, I've got to actually cheat on that one. 9mm to inches is 0.354. Okay. That I literally do not want. I want to make my hole that size. I'm going to use a 9mm drill bit because that's what it comes with the threaded inserts. So that's the size bit that I'm going to use. I'm also going to buy some extra bits, in my inventory, for production and all. But I want to make sure that when I'm, making my drill hole here, 0.354 divided by 2, give me just a second here. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, got to cheat tonight. Calculator. 0.354 divided by 2. 0.177. When you're drawing circles in SketchUp, it's radius, it's not diameter. Okay, so 0.177. I want to make sure that I have plenty of meat on the end when I put this thread in. I don't want blowout. I got plenty of room to work with. I don't need to be like, so close to the edge and things like that. But I do want stability as well too. All right, so let's come back in here, and so on my guideline, I can come in a 1/2 inch off each end. And my 0.177. These will be where my threaded inserts go. Oops. And I'm just going to push them down 1/4 inch just for visual purposes. But now, on this part, right, like I said, and I got to draw in the bottom here. Give me just 1 second. Let me turn off the guidelines. And let me take a straight line and go from here to here. There we go. Okay. On this part, and of course, this is an ugly looking bracket. I'm going to clean it up and make it look pretty here in just a second. But my thing is do I want to create a jig that each of these parts can sit upright in, and they can stack side by side in this jig? And depending on the height of my jig, and in this case, remember, from the bottom to the top is 5 inches. So can my CNC with a router bit in it, I'm only going to be cutting down, my threaded inserts are only 10 millimeters tall, my threaded inserts are, sorry, not 10 millimeters tall. They are, 10 millimeters tall. So, which is 0.394. So 0.42 is usually what I drill down to, right? So 0.42 and everything. And what I program in on the CNC when I'm putting these threaded inserts on my wasteboard and stuff. And so I have a choice. If I have the clearance on my CNC, can I make a jig that these can sit upright side by side, and they can get mounted on this jig in a particular spot? You know, I can make a platform that gets mounted in a particular spot on my table, and I can come in and mill these 2 holes on each part. Or do I want to do them on the drill press? Do I want to try to do them by hand, which I don't recommend? What can I do, right? What's going to make it easy? Can I make a jig for the drill press, right? I might have a nice little drill press table, and I might have a jig that, you know, I can lower the drill press table, and I have a jig that when it sits in, it drills all these holes. I can move them down bit by bit, and I can flip them around. But then I'm kind of, it's on me to make sure I'm centered between each part, you know, when I move it to each router bit. I would ideally is, you know, can I do it on the CNC, right? That would be ideal. But do I have the clearance? Now, if I don't have the clearance, can I mount it on the front of the table? And is my router bit able to reach off the front of the table? Do I have that kind of room and all that? Whatever the case may be. Now, on my particular CNC, I can go up 6 inches or more. So I can actually go up above that 5 inches. The only thing is I got to be able to go up above plus however much bit that I need to drill down, right? So we got to take that into account. We got to take in our wasteboard and all that stuff. But let's say that I could put this in a jig. Then I'm going to draw out in my Vectric software, I'm going to draw out the size of my jig, and I'm going to draw out 3/4 inch rectangles stacked side by side with my hole placement 1/2 inch off each end. And I'm going to create the tool path based off the center of that, or, you know, the left side or whatever it is, my jig. I'm going to base that off so I can put these parts in, and it'll go mill these, 10 sets of holes and stuff. On the drill press, hey, it's just time. I add that into time if I got to do it on the drill press. But I'm also going to try to set up a production situation where I can get things perfectly positioned every time. And it might come down to something as cool as literally a jig. We can make this all on the CNC, right? A jig with a little crank that, when my part is aligned under the bit, that I can turn this crank and it slides everything over by 3/4 of an inch, right? So one turn moves all my parts over, right? So it's like a little jig with a bed that actually moves. And I can use a bolt, a threaded bolt. It don't have to be a lead screw or any of this stuff. It could be a threaded bolt from an all thread from Lowe's with a set of nuts on it. All I need is a handle, and I just need to know how many turns gets me from one part to the next dead center under my bit. So I can crank that many turns, drop my drill press, crank that many turns, drop my drill press, and then can I turn these parts around in some way so I can do the back holes, or do I shift it? All these things, this is what I'm working out in the production side of things on the, what can I do to make the time to make this part less? And what can I do to make it just where it's just quick and easy for me, where it's not a pain in the ass, and where everything is concise and precise and all that, because quality of product matters, right? From the price that I'm going to be charging. All right. So, and again, this is not the best looking bracket in SketchUp here and all. I would take time and draw this and all, but you know, so we're going to have 2 of these brackets. Now, here's my question. We're going to have, let's draw the part that the brackets go on. Now, this part that the brackets go on, let me get positioned back on my camera here, standard top view. This part that the brackets go on is going to get cut out of a piece of material, and I can make it as wide as I want. So the width of it, within this width, right off the edge coming in, I need to draw the actual rectangle to the right size, so bear with me just a second. This is going to be a total length of 15 inches. And the width we'll figure out in just a minute. But let's turn my guidelines back on. Off the edge, 0.25 inches in. Use the right tool. 0.25 inches in. There's going to be a slot. This slot, and also the slot is going to end. It's going to start 1 1/4, and it's going to end 1 1/4. So this slot has to be, remember, this is the slot where my bolt head is going to go down in. Remember, my bolt head is 0.5 inches, that little black oxidized bolt that we talked about earlier. It's a 1/2 inch. So I don't want it tight. I don't want to have to beat the damn bolt down in there. I want it to be able to slide, right? Slide. So I don't want to have to take these bolts out. When this thing gets assembled, these bolts can get loosened and they can slide back and forth. They get tightened into position. So on this, I don't want a whole lot of slop and everything, but the upper part of this is going to have a slot on it that is, let's call it 0.5625, so 9/16. So 0.5625. Let me see what dimensions first for me. So the length. So 12.5 inches, 12.5, comma, 0.5625. Now, inside this slot, right, centered in this slot is a 1/4 inch slot. What my bolt's going through, right, the bolt head or the bolt body, not the bolt head. So let's get a guideline going on here. Tape measure. On this center part, we'll get our center line defined, which is right there. 1/8 inch from that center in that direction, 1/8 inch in this direction. This will be my slot. And let's go ahead and let's extrude this up so we can start making sense of it all. It is going to be 3/4 of an inch thick because that's how thick my material is. So this whole thing is going to get pulled up 0.75. And in here, this is going to be pulled up even with it for right now. That 0.75 will bring this one up with it too. So all these are at the new level now. All right, so this slot right here is going to go all the way through. Okay, so that one's going to go all the way through. Now, this one is going to get recessed just a little bit more than my head thickness. Now, remember on my bolt, the bolt, that head thickness is 0.11. So if I go down 0.125, I'm golden. I'm good. I'm just under the surface, right? I can go down more than that, 0.15, whatever. But as long as I'm 0.125, I'm good. So in here, this we will, come down 0.1. I'll just make it 0.13. Okay. And let me see what I got going on here. Bear with me just a second. Okay. All right, good. Now, come to the bottom side of this. Let's turn off these guidelines again, get them out of our way. On the bottom side of this, we're going to pull this down, right? So we haven't made the pocket for this yet. And this rectangle is not going to be the pocket we're going to use. Now we got to create our 3/4 inch piece. Now here's the question. Are we doing shoulders to where a tenon is going to go up into, into this area right here, and the shoulder's right on the bottom? So are we going to create that tenon, or is our whole 3/4 inch piece going to go up in there? So what I'm asking myself is, in this part right here, in this area, which I have defined as the center of where my bolt head and everything is, so it's not on my piece. If I come in and take a guideline from the edge of my part, or not from the edge, if I just find the center of my part here, okay, and from that guideline, if I pull this out 3/8 of an inch, and if I pull this out 3/8 of an inch, that, let me draw the rectangle there. And let me get rid of the guidelines. I know it's hard to see. This will make sense in just a second. When this gets pushed up, it's only going to be up in there a little bit, right? So, and so my question to all of us is my part going to just fit in there so that it slides back and forth in that slot as a whole? And remember, my screw is going to come down into my threaded inserts down into that part, right? And it's going to recess there. But is my part going to sit in that groove like this and everything? Or is my part going to have let me do it this way. Let me do it this way. Bring that in a 16th. Bring that in a 16th. All right, let's take a 3/4 inch block. Push, pull it, 0.75. Let's come up here on the top. Let's take a 16th inch there. Come on. Come on, draw it. 0.0625. Hold on a second. Oh, I got the damn guides turned off. Let's try that again. I know this is getting confusing with all these guides. I'll delete them all in just a second. Actually, let me do that right now. Edit, delete all guides. All right, let's start over. So 0.625. On this side, 0.0625. All right, let's draw a line from here to here. Let's draw a line from here to here. Let's pull this down. Let's go a 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. All right. Triple click, G for component. All right, let's rotate this bad boy so we can see 90 degrees. Okay. Edit, delete all guides. So on this part, we're going to take and we got to rotate it 90 degrees. So this part, if I move this up under here, see if I can get it to, it does not like me today. Come on now. You're confusing everybody. Stop moving like that. There we go. We're getting somewhere. Hold on a second. I'm getting there now. Okay. Oops. So is my part going to have a shoulder on it? Is my part going to have a shoulder on it where the tenon goes up into this slot? And of course, the, on the tenon here, it would probably be a little bit taller, of course. So they meet right there. Right? But is it going to have a shoulder on it, which is going to give me the best stability? I think having a shoulder and I would probably go a little bit more than a 1/16. But I need to stay more than 0.55 inches because of the upper slot and everything. But also I have to remember there's a threaded insert in the top of this, so I can't go too narrow, that 0.354. So I only have a certain amount of room. So in my part here, which is this hook part, right here, if I brought this in a 1/16, (0.0625), I still have plenty of room right there. So I could actually come, I mean, my shoulder, realistically, I could come in an 1/8 here. I don't want it too weak or fragile and everything. So a 1/16 wouldn't be bad on both sides. And then, oops. If I drew a line from here to here and a line from there to there, let's go 3/8. 0.375. So on this part, if it looked like this and everything, to where that part went up into that slot on the bottom, that having that lip, that ledge, gives me a little bit more stability this way. I mean, I'm going to be up in the part enough that I'm not really concerned about it splaying or anything like that. Again, we're not holding a person's not sitting on this thing, it's just a cat, but still having the slot and the tenon and everything is going to give me more stability from splaying and everything. It's going to give me more stability and all. So I would opt to design this. So knowing that I would opt to design this, now I need to set up my other workstation that we were talking about, my router station, with my slot cutting bit, with a spacer between the two slots and everything. And they have bits where you can adjust where the spacers go and all. But it would be I could probably make it, I could reduce this down a little bit more. But if I left it here, it's 5/8, right? So there'd be a 5/8, and it would, when I run it through the router, there'd be a fence all lined up, everything with the perfect depth and everything. So all I have to do is run the part in, and it cuts those two shoulders off at the same time in one pass. Or if I'm going to do it in two passes, if I was going to do it in two passes, for whatever reason, I would have a place on my fence that all my parts get the one pass, boom, 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 boom. And then I can literally move that fence perfectly without a bunch of fiddling around and everything. I would set up a way that I got almost kind of like a positive stop for myself. So I can move that fence back, and whatever, it could be a board clamped on the damn table for all I care. But I move that fence back, and it's there perfect, and I position it. Now I can run that again, and I'm at my perfect 3/8. So it's all in the setup. Got to think about all of this stuff when we're going and all. And again, I hope I'm not boring y'all, and I hope I'm making sense. But let me know and all and everything, because we're already at 10 o'clock. It's already 2 hours and 20 minutes in. Minds are getting tired and all that stuff, but I'm trying to I'm taking you through this kind of development process. We don't have a part yet. This is rough. This is so rough. This isn't even a finished part. This is just a concept drawing, right? So my router bit that my router bit Amazon tangle rubber feet. Let's go with it would be a tenon router bit. And they have tenon router bits with spacers or with washer or bearings and all that stuff. But that's a beading bit. I want one that's adjustable, that I can change. I can remove the bolt, and I can add more holes to it and everything. I can change my rabbet thickness. So I love CMT's versatility. On CMT, I can take the bolt out, and I can remove these two inner blades. So I'm just using the outer blades and everything. I can, create whatever, size, thickness, tenon that, based on whatever adjustability. And so I got to find the right bit. There are slot bits where I can put in my own spacers. Or if I can't find the right slot bit, then I will use because it's the same thickness off of each side. So I can use just a T slot bit. Let's go back up here. So T slot router bit. Come on, man. T slot. Let me just find. Well, just we find for the example. So on the T slot router bit, I can set that to where one pass does one side, flip the part over, second pass does the other side, because I'm only removing a 1/16 of an inch off each side, right? So if I can't find the double bladed bit where it does both sides in one pass, then hey, I got one extra move. So I run the part, flip it over on the table, run it again the second time, it's done, right? So it only takes a few seconds to knock it out with a T-slot bit versus, you know, a two-slotted bit. If I can't find, you know, whatever to meet my needs, then I adapt. You adapt, overcome, all that stuff, right? So either one. But I'm going to set up that station. And my parts are going to get run to cut that tenon. All right, so now that I know that that part's cutting that tenon, now I actually really need to lay out this part here. Now, this part isn't done by any means. It's got to be finessed and everything. So we have our slot over here, but now on this slot, my screw head is round, right? And I want to be able to get as far as I can get and things like that. So in this case, I might on not only, you know, on my slot, but in here and here. And make sure I'm on the right plane there. There we go. Push, pull. Let's pull this down. And push, pull. Let's pull this down. Right. So when my bolt head goes through, I have, you know, plenty of room and everything on both ends. Right. So over here, we'll do the same thing. Oops. Push, pull, push that down to there. Get rid of that line. Push, pull, push that down all the way through. Get rid of that line. And so this slot is going to have a nice, clean look. My bolt heads can go all the way full extension to one side, full extension to the other, so I can get maximum movement out of that part to go up to the window, depending on what my situation calls for, right? And everything. I don't need a whole lot of movement, but I want some versatility, some adjustment and everything. My bracket is not going to be this small. My bracket is going to have, it's going to have some width to it, right? And it's going to have, oops. Bear with me a second. Okay. That bracket is, you know, when I come in here, that bracket should be able to slide, you know, along that slot. And then my bolt go into the threaded inserts in there, tighten it down. And with this, they're going to, because now listen, this is important. This is important, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, details matter. Okay. Right. Details matter. So my hex head bolt right here. Okay. This hex slot, here, if we go back to the details of this bit and everything, if I'm not mistaken, it uses a 5/32nd Allen wrench. Okay, 5/32nd Allen wrench. So what I'm going to do with that, is I'm going to provide an Allen wrench with every kit. And so let me show you the ones that I use. Okay. This 5/32nd inch Allen wrench, it's got a ball end for, you know, just different positions and all. They come in 10 packs, and it's, you know, about 85 cents each. So it's a minimal kind of cost, you know, for me to provide them with these tools. So they have, when they get their kit, they get their tools so they can slide and adjust and everything. And they got this tool they can use. It's really, really well made. This thing is about, overall length is about 4.5 inches, 4 3/8. And it's a really nice Allen wrench, 5/32. I buy them in bulk. And again, right now, this is retail pricing. I haven't even set up, the business account to get business pricing where these are discounted dramatically, right? But this is it's the 5/32 hex edge, L shape ball in Allen wrench 10 piece. When I sell my dust brushes, the dust brush to mount it on the CNC spindle, it uses an Allen bolt. And so they get a tool with each dust brush, right? So for remove and things like that if they need to remove, but they get a tool with each one. I always provide the tool. If there's a tool involved, I provide it and everything. And it's a minimal cost. You can buy them in bulk from all kinds of different places. McMaster Cars, a great place to get, bulk items and stuff. But also Amazon and things like that. All right. So they're going to have that bolt goes in there, tightens down, and they'll have their bracket that slides back and forth. So that's going to be that, right? Now here, the rest of this part, let me get my tape measure out. So we're a 1/4 inch there. What I want to do is hit escape. I want to come out at least a 1/4, but I can actually go a little bit more. I'm going to go, that's a 1/4. Let's go 5/16 out this way. And this bad boy is going to get, this bad boy right here is going to get recessed down. It is going to get recessed down by what am I going to do? A 1/4 of an inch. I should be fine there. Let me see if I'm going to be fine. Bear with me just a second. Oh yeah, plenty of room. Okay, so there's going to be on this end here, there's going to be a hole that is 1/4 inch in diameter. Let me pull this through. It's going to go all the way through. To the other side. And there's going to be a countersink here, and another bolt is going to go in through here into my piece of wood. Now, hold on. Let me explain to you what I'm talking about on a piece of wood. So we're going to take this here, this whole thing. I'm going to take this, hold down the control. I'm going to hit move. I'm going to hold down the control key. So I'm moving a copy, right? And I'm moving 20 inches. So I should be able to type in 20 and move 20 inches over here. Now I'm going to take this piece right here and I'm going to flip it along my component, not red, sorry, my component's blue axis. Nope, shoot, it's the green. I always do that. Flip along the green axis. So it kind of creates that. Now here, I'm going to have a platform. Now this platform, I want it to be stout. I'm serious. I want this thing to be, it can hold some weight and everything, but it's going to be a 3/4 inch board. And the, let me pull this. It's going to go the full length. And on this board here, it's going to have a rabbit cut out on both sides. Because it's and there's going to be a bolt that goes all the way through. Let me draw a line to represent the bolt. There's going to be a bolt that goes from the outside all the way through into there, into a threaded insert to screw into here. But when these lock together, so this is a platform and everything, it's going to be nice and flush all the way across the top. This is going to be kind of like a little interlock basically, right? So everything is, bolts together nicely and everything. And then of course my bed is going to sit on top of that, right? And my cushion bed and all that stuff. But so on this part here, I'm going to take on this part, let me get rid of this guideline. Bear with me just a moment. When I drew my rectangle here, I misdrew it. So let me get rid of that. Let me draw this from here to here to here to there to connect that. Over here. Oh. From here to here to there to there. All right, now I can pull this. Now I can triple click on this and make it a group. And now I can move this so y'all can see what the part is. Oops. Come on now. G for group, enter. Move that part up. So if we look at this part, it is, a piece of 3/4 inch plywood. The length and size of it is going to be 19 7/8 inches in length. It is going to be 3/4 inches thick. There is going to be a rabbet cut in it that is going to be a 1/2 inch deep and 1 inch wide. Okay. And in here, there's going to be a threaded insert. Come on, man. Hold on a second. I need to move this up here. Okay. Now I can work on the end. There's going to be a threaded insert here and on this end that lines up with the through bolts that are going to be on the two ends there. And now on this threaded insert with this part, right? This part, the production of this part, I have two choices here. And for me, the choice is pretty easy. I'm thinking about doing it on the CNC, but I'm going to have a jig for the CNC, and in my jig is going to help to make all my parts all in one jig is going to get clamped to the table, and all my parts can be made from it. But I'm going to have a router bit, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, router bit that is going to come, and it's literally going to cut this rabbet. It's going to do it in 1, 2, 3 passes, whatever your machine can handle. But it's going to come in and cut this rabbet, then it's going to come over and cut that rabbet. And that's its only job on this particular part. The only two tool paths, it's cutting this rabbet. Now, when I take these parts, this sheet part over to my workbench or to its station or wherever I'm calling it stations, but I might have a damn workbench in the middle of my table with all these little platforms and routers mounted and all, where it's just all around one little workbench in the middle of my shop floor. Who knows? Right? It could be anything, and all, but whatever it could just be held the top of your table saw for all I care. But I need to be able to drill these holes and put the threaded inserts in perfectly. So how am I going to do that? Well, what I'm going to do is the first thing I'm going to do is let me go with my rotate tool here. And let me rotate this, stand it straight up 90 degrees. I am going to, what the frick, man? Let me get things on the screen here so everybody can see. Jesus. Work with me. There we go. I am going to literally have a jig that literally is opposite of this. So I'm going to have a jig that will look something like this. I want to be, bear with me. Push pull. Oh, let's see here. Give me just a second. Come on, man. My mouse movements are terrible tonight. We're going to take $9 millimeters was 0.354, right? 9 millimeters was 0.354, and it was 0.177. 0.177. 0.177. And then from that center, okay, I need guidelines. Guidelines are my best friend. So 1 inch in. One inch in. This area right here is a ½ inch. All right. So 1/4. Okay, X marks the spot. So 0.177. 0.177. Okay, push pull. Push pull. All right, my jig. Hold on a second. Let me save this work because that just scared me. Parts for concept. All right, my jig is going to be a part that literally fits, and I don't know where my back piece went to. Let me put it back. Push. It's literally going to have that slot comes up. So it literally hooks right over, right? So, and precision counts, my CNC is a precision machine. So when I cut my rabbets, it's going to fit, right? If it doesn't fit, then I need to go back to my setup. But this part slides right over. The ends are nice and flush. And these holes are going to be my guide holes for my drill bit. Now I can freehand drill this. I can put a stop on my drill bit so I know I'm cutting 0.44 inches into this, which are 0.42, which is how deep I need for my threaded insert. But it's going to make sure that that threaded insert is placed exactly right every time. I can set up a station again depending on the throat or the throw of my, not CNC, my drill press, if I can mount this in some way to where I can clamp this on and it's right under my drill press. But in this case, if I set it up nice and vertical on my workbench, I put a stop. They sell stop collars for router or bit or for drill bits and all. I can set my gauge, my stop gauge and everything, but I can have it drill perfectly down. That jig comes off. I screw in my threaded inserts and done, but it will position them and it will make putting the threaded inserts into the end of this platform easier and more precise. So everything is precise. I'm going to make a jig that's going to help me with that step of the production. And the jig is literally this piece right here that slides right over that tenon. It sits on there, and then I just run my drill bit down those guide holes, right? And then from the top of the guide holes up on the drill bit, up 0.42 inches, I put my stop collar, and that way when I get down to the stop collar, I know that my bit is 0.42 inches into that hole, right? So I'm going to create that jig. And you can make it out of, whatever you want, whatever you need, but it's going to, that jig, that one piece right there is going to be sole purpose for its job. It's going to be cutting drilling the threaded insert holes, the 9mm holes into this platform, into both ends of the platform. So I drill the 2 holes, it gets flipped over, drill the other 2 holes. And so that's that step of the production. So now I have all the concepts kind of, figured out. And I got to fine tune the look of the design and everything of this part, but all the concept, this part is literally done. That's this part. Let me flip back over. This top piece with the recess for the screw head, with the slot underneath for the part, that part, other than the 2 holes in their countersinks right there, that's done. So if we go back and look at this here, if we go back into a, let's see if we can find a close-up. So if we look at the close-up right here where the mouse is, right at the top, that top window there, and let's see if there's a better vantage point. Yeah. So right there, those holes, those screws are literally going into a steel rod. There is a steel rod that runs through the bottom of this cushion and that connects the left side to the right side. And in our case, we have a bolt that's going to be countersunk. And again, I'm going to use the black oxide bolt. I want a nice clean look because I'm going to have my black tab, my hook that I'm going to be making, that metal hook. And again, it's going to mount from the other side. So we'll create our screw holes and all that stuff too. But the hole and countersink is going to be sized appropriately, 1/4 inch diameter hole, size, whatever head it's going to be. This piece is 3/4 of an inch thick, right? So that hole will most likely be about a 1/2 inch in diameter. It could be less if I decide to use a different screw with a smaller head. It could be a socket type button screw, but it's going to be a nice clean look when it assembles and everything and all into there, and things and stuff. So The concept here is a great concept, but I don't like that this is a rod, and it sags in the middle. There's no support for the, it's very uncomfortable for the cat. It's gotta be. I mean, they can sleep on anything. I've seen my cat sleep on everything, but ours is going to be better. So now there's not a real drawing here. As you're sitting there going, that's not a real drawing, right? But there will be. This is just a concept I'm laying out in my mind. I'm using SketchUp to help me kind of, draw out the concepts of how things are going to fit and how things are going to go. Once I have it kind of figured out, in this, it helped me kind of figure out what the type of jig that I'm going to need and everything. Now I can start, start fine tuning this process, but I'm going to do it in Vectric. I'm going to actually create my vector drawings and my toolpath to cut these parts out and all based off this concept. Now, if I take the time and I draw these parts out to scale, perfectly lay them out in SketchUp, then I can simply import those parts from SketchUp into Vectric. And that's fine and everything and all. But mostly what I end up doing, what I do is I take my concept here, get everything laid out, and then I can pull measurements and all. And then in Vectric, I can actually just create the part, and I can create the tool paths and I can, see this, how it's going to play out. Now, one thing that's important in my jig is going to have 2 slots that's going to hold. Imagine this being a 3/4 inch by 2 1/8 inch block of wood, square block of wood. I'm going to have 2 pockets in my jig that are they're going to be 1/4 inch deep. They're going to be 2 1/8 inch wide, and they're going to be, hold on a minute. They're going to be 15 inches long. They're going to probably be side by side on this jig or what have you. Now, what's going to happen is when my part, I'm going to cut down 3/4 inch by 2 1/8 inch by 15 inch long pieces. I'm going to take and cut all those parts on the table saw or the chop saw, whatever. And I'm going to have a batch, an inventory on my shelf. I'm going to have all my raw blanks, and everything. Now I can pull off my shelf what I'm going to do for production that day. I can take them over to the CNC and I can start loading my parts into the jig. So I got 2 slots. That slot can be, one is going to be for the top half. The other is going to be for the other half. So I can drop the part in there. I can drop in my other piece and this jig is going to have 3 stations that it cuts out of. My platform, my lower part, and this upper part. Now this upper part is 2 stages. But it's going to get cut. And then once that gets cut, it's going to get flipped into the other pocket that's right next to it, 180 degrees into the other pocket. And while that pocket is in there, another blank goes into this first one, right? And then there's going to be tool paths that run just that bottom side, the other side. So on this top part, the things that are going to get cut is this 0.13 inch deep slot, the through slot on here, and this this pocket, this rabbet, this recess is going to get milled out and everything, and that'll probably be side 2. Side 1 will probably be this bottom side because there's only that slot getting cut out, and then when it gets flipped over, there's a solid foundation for it to go into. And get milled. Now, if I was going to do this side if I was going to do this side first and flip it over, then my jig would accommodate this part. There'd be a lip to support under here. It would literally, the pocket would be a mirror reverse image of what that shape is right there. It would be a mirror reverse image of this shape right here. My other pocket would be. So when I flip it over, it fits perfect. And everything. There's no shaking, shimmying, or woggling, whatever, and all. And so first, I'm going to make one part. I'm not going to create the jig. I'm not going to think about the jig at this moment. I'm going to make one part, one project complete. I'm going to cut I'm going to just zero out my X, Y, Z, and I'm going to run the tool path, and I'm going to cut out all the pieces, and I'm going to assemble them, and then I'm going to analyze the way they were made, the assembly, how everything looks, the finished product. If I'm happy with everything, there's no adjustments that need to be made. Then, based off of my vectors for that part and the tool paths I made, now I'm going to design the vectors and the tool paths for the jig that's going to hold these parts. And that jig design in Vectric is going to be my template for my tool pathing. I'm going to use that as my template to cut tool path all the parts. So let me show you what that looks like in an actual production situation. So we're going to go to if I was smart enough, I copied everything over. Let's see. Let's see if I copied my jig over onto this. Come on, baby boy, please say you did. Say you're smart enough. Wait for it. If I didn't, it'll take me just a second to pull it up on my computer. I did. All right. So, okay. Let me just show you this workflow real quick. So you see sheet 1 and 2 right here. Sheet 1 is a single one-off item. It's one of my parts. Sheet 2 is the bottom of one, another part, right? And on sheet 2, if I flip it over, there's on sheet 2, there's a second side to that, right? So this one part has kind of a two-sided cut. None of the other parts do, but when it came to the process of laying this out, my first concept part was laid out and its tool paths. Then once all the tool paths and once that one part was made and any little adjustments or changes were made and anything like that, then my jig was laid out. So now on my jig in here, the first two rows, the blanks go in here. This third row is empty. So over here are the holders that I made that screw down and hold each of my pieces. But my blanks are 12 by 8, and I cut them out either on the CNC or I cut them out on the table saw or whatever it is, out of my big 4 by 8 sheet or whatever. But they get cut out. And I have a stack of them, of those 12 by 8. So the stack of them on the shelf, I pull from there and I fill up all 6 of these holes on this jig. So all 6 of those holes, those front 6 holes get done. Then my 1/4-inch bits run all of their tool paths. My 1/8-inch bit runs all of its tool paths. My 16th-inch bit runs all of its tool paths, and so on and so forth. Then when that run is done, these 3 right here in the middle get flipped over and put into this side, this pocket. And this pocket has this hole cut out right here so that this part fits right over that hole. Let's see if I can show the jig. Preview. Let me turn down the preview simulation quality to standard so it's real fast. Preview the visible toolpaths. Oh, wait, hold on. That wasn't it. Pocket. Preview visible toolpath. What side am I on? Hold on a second. What side am I on? Top. What am I? That's my hole pattern for the socket holes. All right, there's that. Preview the visible toolpath. Why am I? Hold on a second. What am I missing? What's not showing here? Give me just a second, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so that is on. Turn this off. That's a visible toolpath all day long. Well, where the hell is it? What am I missing? View. Okay, let me look at something here. There we go. Slew Lord. Okay. All right. Now, for some reason, my first hole is not showing up there, but these 6 holes here on this jig are blank. These holes over here are, you know, they have this pocket, this recess cut out. When my blanks go into these 6 holes and they get cut, these middle rows get flipped over and they fit right onto this part. And then my side 2 toolpaths get run on that. But also on this side 2 toolpaths get run. These blanks are filled back up with blanks. And there's a toolpath that runs all my 1/4-inch bits, all my 1/8-inch bits, all 9 of these boxes all at one time. But when these are empty on that first run of the day, there's a toolpath that just runs these first 2 parts. And then when these get flipped over, then I have a toolpath that runs all the bits. All the 1/4-inch bit does all the 1/4-inch stuff. All the 1/8 does all the 1/8. All the T-slot does all the T-slot. Everything is done all at once. And then now I'm taking these out to the workbench, these out to the workbench, these get flipped over to here, and then these 6 holes get filled up again with blanks, and it becomes a production line. Boom, 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 boom. And then all of those blanks, this and this side, it's only a one-sided part over here, and this side, when this side is done, both sides are done. So those, when they go over to the tab removal station. It's literally a router with a router bit with a flush trim bit in it that removes all the tabs. So the parts get popped out of the, the scrap, the waste. And then they run through that up against that bearing, that flush trim bit, and all the tabs come off. And then they go into their other workstations where they get assembled with their magnets and dust brushes and this and that and all that stuff. So, but it started with one part. And then from that one part, how those parts fit in the jig, how the parts are going to get, even my hold downs had to, when my router bit comes and cuts this part out, it has to clear the hold down, right? So there has to be a space in here for that router bit to be able to travel in here so it doesn't hit the hold downs, right? So everything is thought about. These holes are threaded inserts. So my hold down screw in the same place in a threaded insert every single time, my clamps and all. And so everything is precise, concise, and everything. This little hole that you see right there, if I need to bring my 1/4-inch bit and drop down in that hole to make sure I'm zeroed out perfectly and all, it's kind of like a little test hole for me. But now that I have a 1, 2, 3 block, I don't need to do that anymore. I can tell my bit to go down to 1 inch, and I should be able to slide the block underneath it. in this pocket and everything. I can tell my bit to come within 1 inch of this wall. I should be able to slide that block and the bit kiss in there. I can check anywhere that I want to on there with that precise 1, 2, 3 block, and I can know that I'm perfectly laid out on my jig. And on my table, my layout, my table has 3 different stations on it, and those are called coordinate systems. We talked about that a little bit last week when we talked about, I can make my CNC machine move to any one of the coordinates, the 0, 0 coordinates. In this case, the 0, 0 is this bottom right corner of this jig. Those are all pre-programmed into my software, and it knows to move over to that location. We'll talk about setting up coordinates one day. We'll physically go out to the CNC machine in a class and show you the setup and all. But that jig that's going to be manufacturing my individual parts, once I get it figured out and laid out and everything, then I can start to tool path. Now I create my jig tool paths, right? My jig tool paths for when those parts get cut out on the jig. Part side A and side B, or on my jig, my dust brush, tool paths and all. So when those parts get cut and everything, the tool paths for the jig are now laid out. So when I throw blanks in there, my CNC knows exactly where to go to cut out those parts out of those locations. My jig is my template. My jig in the software is the template. So when you create your design for your jig, you use that design as the template for your tool pathing. Does that make sense? Do y'all understand that? Y'all got that? All right. Now, Brooks Martin, please. You said tempered steel. Can you kind of reiterate that? Can you reiterate that question a little bit more? What about tempered steel? What's the question about tempered steel? If you don't mind, Brooks Martin, tempered steel. Can you kind of give me a little bit more on the question on that one? Okay, so let's go back. Let's minimize out of this. Let's go back to here. Once I have the concept and everything, once I have, I've defined my part and everything, what it's, in this case, what problem is it going to solve for me and hopefully for everyone else? It's going to provide a luxury window system for a cat that's a little bit more comfortable on their joints and things. So that egg crate cushion is going to help with joint pain relief and everything. And these are the things, these are bullet points I'm going to be putting on the website on this page. What is it? Why buy my product? It's going to be a more stable platform. It's going to be, it's going to have a no marring, easy to, adjust design for all window sills, as long as it meets these guidelines. It's going to have the crate cushion is going to be, ergonomically comfortable. I don't know if that's the right word, but, it's going to be comfortable for the cat and really, joint pain, so they can enjoy the great outdoors as they stare out the beautiful window. And I'm going to have all these kind of bullet points and all this description of my product, right? That's going to go on my website, and on whatever, Amazon, Etsy, wherever I'm selling. And then I'm going to test it. I'm going to make one, work out all the bugs and all that stuff, and then I'm going to design it. So I've got the concept design, just a rough, very rough. It's very rough, but it's the concept design. Now, one part is done. My jig part is done on my platform. So my platform is done. Simple part. Platform is done. The jig that goes on the platform with the threaded inserts, that's done. I can just transfer that over and make my toolpaths to make those two things. My top piece that my bottom part slide in, that the platform mounts to, it's done. Probably will finesse. I'll probably radius the corners, make things nice and soft, soft corners on the back side. So in here, that's not it. In here, on this part, let me paint this part here. Not the whole thing now. Bear with me a second. Let me explode it. This part, which I'll kind of paint like a rosy red here. That's a terrible color. Let's choose this color. That's even worse. Hold on a second. Let me find a light color that. There we go. All right. So this part right here, this part I will probably, fillet the edges so that when this part gets cut out, final profile cut out on the jig, that it kind of, fillets these edges and everything, to soften it up. I might even run an 1/8 inch round over bit as one of the tool paths to round over, not this inside edge, but, this outside edge, to soften it up on, most like I'll that I'll do in Vectric. I'll figure out, what I want to finesse this to really finesse this part. But this part is done other than the hole placement. Now, the hole placement, I've already designed on my platform right here. That hole placement, I've already kind of decided that if I take my tape measure, it was 1 inch in from the edge, right? And it was split on that lip. So that means I'll just come in from this side, because these holes right here, this hole, this is not going to get done on here, when it's flipping two sides. This is either, there's going to be a jig that either cuts out those two holes on the drill press, or this part gets flipped up vertically. It gets flipped up 90 degrees, and the CNC is going to cut those two holes. That it gets worked out in the details, but the hole placement is centered and 1 inch in. So that's 1.25 inches. So 1 inch in. Oops. Hold on a minute. Come on. Come on. 1 inch in. That's where, and if we draw the circle, it was 0.177. Hold on, let me, it's not 0.177, it's 1/4 inch, because the 0.177 is for the threaded insert. I almost screwed up. This is 1/4 inch point, and I go on a 1/4 inch hole, so it slides right through 0.26. 0.26. So 0.26 on that, 0.26, it would be 0.12, 1 point. Why am I going stupid here? 0.26 divided by 2 is 0.13. 0.13. All right, and then same thing on this end. 1 inch in, centered, right? That midpoint. I'll go ahead and put a guideline there again, but 0.13. And so now those two hole locations are defined. I can even pull them, if I want. But those two locations are defined. Now that's on the inside. No countersink on the inside, right? But on the outside, there's a countersink. And depending on what bolt I decide, I'll figure out the diameter of that. And that'll be part of my, that'll be, if I do turn these up vertically and the holes get cut, the countersink gets cut first, then the through hole gets cut second in the toolpath operation. Same bit. So it'll be a pocket cut that does the relief, the countersink basically. And then the same bit is going to do the same cut. So it'll be one kind of two separate actions, but all at one time. And so this part with, laid out, I just in Vectric, I just have to do an offset based on what my countersink is going to be. So I'll do that in Vectric. I don't need to do that here. And so this part is done. This part is basically figured out, from here. But what we're going to do, of course, is we're going to clean it up in Vectric, and I'll make it nice and curvy and stuff like that. I really like, I like the shape of that, foot and everything, but I don't want it to be exact or anything like that. It doesn't have to be exact. I want it to be close, but also I want a little bit more meat back here because I might want to customize these side rails. I could customize them with cute, funny little things, little cat paws, little mice, hearts, whatever. If you see if we look at some of these, options and things, you can see that they've taken, and they've kind of done a little decorative little cat paws. Those star knobs on the top, that drives me crazy. It's uncomfortable. If the cat's laying its head on, if it's a big cat and all that, I want a nice smooth surface. Even if I put a thin pillow on there, I don't want having to feel bumps and everything through the thin pillow. You know what I mean? And all, but that's not the point of all this. The point of all this is if we look at some of the premiums, the premium ones, or something like that, you can see that 90% of them are cat paws. I mean, geez. But just cat paws, right? There's nothing really, and I can shape it and do better, cleaner, better. And then I can put on my website where they can put in their own text and custom, I can give them a window to work in. You can write anything you want. Just all they do is when they place the order, they fill in the blank, what they want. And I can engrave that in as a one-off custom order. I probably wouldn't do that. I would probably give them custom orders of a chance to, it could be a cat paw, it could be a heart, it could be a little mouse, it could be whatever, they would be certain designs. So that way they can be made and I can have inventory of them. So when I get orders in, I can just pull the parts I need for the cat paw, pull the parts I need for that, and it's already made. You know what I mean? So if I'm doing a custom order where they can put in their own custom wording or something like that, now I'm doing one-offs, not really a production all, and I'm building to order. And that's fine in certain things, but as a premium, So is any of this, guys, I feel like I put you all to sleep. Let me see here. Give me a thumbs up if y'all are still with me because it's late. It's 10:49. And I see a thumbs up from JR. All right. But give me a thumbs up. Let me know that this is making, sense to you. What we are doing is in our stages. Okay, we've designed a product, or we're in the product. We're in that design phase, right? Now, the next step is going to be after we get our Vectric stuff laid out. Which, by the way, guys, this is going to be a two-parter. We're not going to be able to do everything tonight. Because I want to take you through, we're gonna price this product. We're gonna design it. We're gonna make it. We're gonna see how long it takes to machine it. We're gonna price it. I want to literally take this to concept to market, right? We're gonna market it, because I have an audience for this one on Family Members Facebook page that loves animals and all that stuff, and I have a woman who does animal adoptions, and she works with the Humane Society and everything. She's going to be a little salesperson marketer for it and all that stuff. I got people that'll spread the word, and everything. I'll offer her, a commission on every sale or referral, that she pushes out from her people and things like that. And now I get a little business going. I get a little side hustle going on a cat window mount, right? Whatever, perch. But now the brand, right? What are we going to call it? Are we going to just call it a cat window perch? Is it, are we going to come up with a name for it? But we got to, kind of brand it. And then we also have to, not only with the branding and all, but branding it is it's going to have, made by Build It TV, right? Or whatever my company is. And Build It TV LLC is my company, whatever your company is. But from there, we're going to have the description of it. We're going to have, all the key bullet points. Like I said, it's ergonomically comfortable, less joint pain, more sleep and comfort, and I'm going to have little pictures. I'm going to have beautiful pictures of, Tiger Lily laying in the bed and enjoying the sunlight and playing on the window and all that fun stuff, right? All on this cute, lush mattress and everything and all. And then my goal, now I'm going to be buying these mattresses and all, so there's already $36 right there just in the mattress alone, right? So my machining to shipping, right? That price sheet, my break-even point, I really got to be on the ball because I got a big expense in buying this pillow. But what my main goal is, now I'm going to start off that way, but my main goal is I'm going to reach out to the manufacturer of that and try to start a relationship where I can buy these in bulk at a discounted price, so I can retail them to my customers and everything. So I want wholesale pricing and everything. Or I'm going to look at I'm going to go to Joann Fabrics or where, I don't know, not Joann Fabrics, but I'm going to start sourcing the materials, the foam cushion egg rolls of, sheets that I can cut the parts out myself. And I'm going to see if I can find someone that's great with a sewing machine that can do a bang up job. I want quality, so they gotta have some skills there, and everything. But my goal from this point forward is to minimize my production cost in any way I can. So my profit, that 40% margin, I start making good margin. I can't get 40% margin right now on this particular part because it's going to be such a premium. It's going to be priced higher than really any of them, but there's going to be a reason. But a big bulk of that is that cushion, that couch, that bed, right? So my goal is to bring that down, do whatever I need to do to bring that down. And then now I can still offer that quality product, but now things are in house or they're, whatever the case may be. But I'm working every aspect of that detail to my whole goal is production costs down, profits up. Okay. Once I get that, my copy of my website and, figure out, and I do some test sales and things like that. Test sales, meaning at the current price and all, see where I'm at. See where I need to be, check the market out, throw them up on Etsy, throw them up on Facebook, throw them out to the people that are gonna hustle them for me and all that stuff. And then from there, I'm going to start production. I'm going to start producing this. But the whole time I'm producing this, I'm also working on reducing cost. So I'm working on, I'm still in the background working on talking with the supplier, the vendor, trying to get that lower discount and, hey, here's who I am. Here's what I want to do. Here's how many I want to buy, each month, what I think I can, maintain a constant order from you, whatever the situation is. And of course, I won't know all those details until I actually test to market. And that's, that's a light sell. That's maybe putting it out on Facebook, TikTok, social media, getting some interest, getting some eyes on it, getting some people to order it and stuff, and then getting their feedback and everything. All right. Now, I don't know what the deal is, but I haven't gotten, hold on a second. All right. For some reason, my other page isn't showing y'all's comments, but over here on the right, I see the thumbs up. Thank you. All right. So did Brooks Martin, did he haul, bud? Let me see here. Brooks, are you still around, bud? Brooks, if you're still around, tempered steel. Let me know what the question was on the tempered steel.
Probably talking about your brackets on the front.
Oh yeah, probably so. If that's what it's referring to. But yeah, now these brackets. Now, here's the dealio. On my stock, right, 1/8 inch steel or, 11 gauge, whatever, however it works on the gauge. I got to go look at the gauges and all. But for now, again, I'm going to be, trying to source these materials at the, the lowest price possible and all. I can go buy bar stock and stuff like that from Lowe's and Home Depot to get me started if I have to. I could probably source it online, very cheap. But there's a metal manufacturing. I don't know if it's called a metal manufacturing, but there's a metal company that sells, all forms of metal stuff down the road. There's a place called Sfinga Brothers that we have here in town, and they have, I don't know if it's a junkyard or what, but they have inside the building, they got racks of all kinds of T60, 61 aluminum. They got rods, they got steel, they got all kinds of things, right? And beautiful, like they're in new condition. It's not a junkyard, but they're, they also have parts where you can go out and pick out of, piles of stuff. From there, I'm going to be sourcing these materials. So if tempered steel, if that's what he's referring to on the bracket, these, it's going to be a lightweight steel. Now, my jig for this, I'm going to get some angle iron from Lowe's, 2 90-degree angle irons, probably about the 1.5 inch angle irons. And I'm going to drill and tap and mount some hinges to it, so it creates like a brake, like a metal brake and everything. And my parts, I have a metal cutting saw. Now, if I'm just starting out, I could use a damn hacksaw if I wanted to, right? Whatever you got to do to get started, okay? But I have a metal cutting saw. Now, it's a handheld. My next step up as things get progressing and all is going to be a kind of not automated, but, it's going to be a bench mounted metal cutting saw. But some metals I can cut actually on the miter saw. Aluminum I can cut all day long on a miter saw if I wanted to and all. But I'm going to get my metal brake that my parts go in. There's a stop on there, so they go into a certain pot. Boom, it bends that little 90-degree. And then from there, I can it slides out to its next stop, and then the handheld cutter just takes just a few minutes, and then it can go over. It'll go into a little bin, and it'll go over to my bench. And on that bench, I'll do a little bit of fine sanding to get rid of the sharp edges and things like that. So those brackets are going to take just a little bit of work, but they'll all get painted a nice enamel black paint. Probably won't go with any kind of gloss or anything like that, maybe a flat black or something, but enamel has kind of a semi-gloss to it. But it's going to have a nice, coating paint. Down the road, I can look at, I can look at what it cost me to make it from the stock, and all my little steps versus buying it in bulk, seeing if I can get it, MasterCard, whatever, right? I can start sourcing, or I can stay with what I'm doing. But for right now, I think I could probably make it cheaper, the brackets, and everything. But, man, I've been talking a lot. Let me, hold on a second. My earpiece went dead. Give me just a second. JR, can you say something? JR, so I can make sure. Can you let me you're muted. Can you unmute yourself and say something for a second, JR? No, just for a quick second.
I just sent you a text on a break.
I got it. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Nope, that's fine. I just needed my my earpiece died, so I just needed to be able to hear you. All right, give me just a second here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, okay. Here we go. Yeah. So there we go. All right. Hold on a second. That is all right. I love Harbor Freight, right? Harbor Freight's awesome. So let's go to Harbor Freight. Thank you, James. JR. Harbor Freight. Let's go there. Pull that over on the screen. And metal brake. Oops. So $44, $45, right? Perfect, right there. That's exactly all I need. It's got perfect. It's got 2 mounting holes. Can mount it right to my workbench. I can make I can adapt little things to it, like a little stop, so my parts go right to the same spot every time. But yeah, thanks, Jared. That's it right there. That's all I need to make those little hooks. And then my drill press to drill the holes where they get mounted from underneath and all that stuff. And again, probably 2 or 3 steps to make these little brackets and everything. But the whole time, I'm also going to be looking at resources to see if, again, I'm always working towards lowering my machine, my manufacturing cost, right? So so right now, I feel that this would be the quickest and best and cheapest way to make these parts. But I'm always going to be looking for that better method, that better, price and all. And then then you do what you got to do, what you do, right? But a lot of times making things in-house, you're going to save a lot of money, right? If you and you can, like, for this $45, that's great, JR. That's perfect. $45.
Plus, you never go to plus you never go to Home Harbor Freight without a coupon, anyways.
Right. Exactly right. So on that, if we back up here, yeah, I mean, shoot, $45, man.
Actually, click on that one again, Laney.
Yep.
Scroll down a little bit. Okay, Central Forge right next to it. Nope. Go over again.
That one? The cutter?
Yeah, even quicker than a chop-off saw.
Yep, that's a shear. So the that I wonder if it says what thickness it can cut up to.
Yeah, it's down. You have to download the.
Let's see here. 1/8" handle cut sheet, 16 gauge. So when it comes to how thick is 16, I'm not great with the gauges yet. Gauge still. So 0.0598. Now that's a little under a 1/16 of an inch. What I got to make sure of, right, is that it's not too thin. You know what I mean? That it's rigid, that it's going to hold, that it's not going to like fold up and then the cat's going to run, kind of thing. But anyway, I'm not great on steel. I'm not great on, like, I have to like physically fill it and all that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, steel 0.0598 thick steel might be plenty strong enough. I don't know. So I'm a woodworking, but yeah, that shear, that would be great, right? Oh God, wouldn't that be awesome if I could just take my bar saw, and get a nice clean cut out of it. Awesome.
Yeah. And plus, then some things you can do to the steel to, tighten it up.
Yep. Are you talking about like heat treating it kind of thing? And
well, yeah, but that's a little expensive. But you just put some bosses or something in the flat of the steel, give it some ridges. Like your roof on your the new your new workshop.
Yeah, corrugated roof.
Yeah,
I got you. Yeah, so all those things. Steel. So what I'd like to do is it's 11 o'clock at night. We're 3 hours and 30 minutes in. I want to call it tonight. It's too much. It's too much right now. It's a lot of information, but I want to pick this up. Okay. I want you guys to stick with me. Now what we're going to do is we've already talked about all the concepts and all this and all that and blah, blah, blah. We are now going to we're going to design the part. We're going to get the tool paths and everything and everything. And we're going to have this thing ready to make. So that's what we're going to work on. And then in the meantime, I'm going to start looking up all the different hardware and everything and get some of that ordered in. See if I can get, some Amazon Prime, some parts in and all so that we can go through. And if everything can work out, we should be able to make this part. But and I'll see if I can get some internet out in my shop and stuff. We might be able to do some CNC stuff. Okay, so I want to thank you all. This is where we're leaving it here, but I think this is an important. It's not the best project in the world. You know, you have to understand we're just doing kind of a concept thing, right? But this relates to any product that you're wanting to make and design. So we have to go through these phases and all. And so we kind of defined what we want, made up my mind that I want this premium product and everything. I have an opportunity to, sell some. Now we're going to, make one, see how it goes and all that stuff. And then we'll lay out the jig and all, but we'll start with designing, not right now, but this coming Wednesday. And we'll literally, and then what we'll do is when it's all said and done and finished and everything, we'll see about putting it in the market, see if we can sell a few and see, we'll just kind of keep track and see how it does, right? Kind of thing. But now we're going to be doing other classes, other lessons. And by the way, speaking of that, right now in the chat, I'm going to put my email address for those of you that are not in the Facebook group. Laney.shaughnessy@spindletv.com. I need you all, when you get a chance, email me. Throw out some ideas for things that you would like to learn in these classes. Topics. Give me some topics, right? Give me some ideas. Give me some things that you want to learn. It could be about a specific tool. It could be about node editing. It could be about, a specific process. It could be about a project. Let's start throwing some ideas my way in the email so I can start kind of, coming up with some real good classes that the best bang for your buck kind of situation. But next week, we're going to take this to its next and final step before we actually produce, turn this into a production thing. But we're going to I'll have all the details kind of worked out, and I'll show you, like in the next week's class, I'll show you some of the jigs, and we'll see what we can come up with. All right. Let me bring James up so I can say goodbye to JR. JR.
Hey.
All right. Let me make myself big here. Let's go full. All right. I hope everybody got something. I know it wasn't, we didn't do a lot in the Vetric and all that stuff tonight, but we will. And again, I know it's a cat bed, it's not, something, but I'll try to relate these things to your product and all, and use that pricing sheet. I spent a lot of time on it. It works. It works, right? So it'll help you if you're looking at this, if you're having a hard time pricing your projects, really take a look at those different tabs and fill out some of the blanks and see what you can come up with. All right, everybody. I really want to thank you for your support. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for hanging out with me for 3 hours and 37 minutes tonight. Long night, but a lot to cover. We'll see you next week, and we will kind of continue and see what we can come up with. All right, Jarrett, you have a wonderful night, bud, and hope you're doing well. If any of you are in the Atlanta area or going to be in the Atlanta area, August 6th through the 9th, I'll be at IWF in Atlanta, August 6th through the 9th coming up. It's like literally right around the corner. But come on out and see us. Well, Digital Woodcarver will be there. So we look forward to it, and we'll see you all later. See you.